and beautiful.
Welcome to the Apex Legends Global Series Pro League. Here we go in knee-deep to our group stages in this double round-robin format. Joining me in the dropship, of course, we've got James and we've got John. And I'm going to keep them on their feet today and ask John, if this was a song today in NA, what song would it be?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm going to say We Will Rock You. And that just came the first thing to come to the top of my head because we got first place and second place in the Pro League competing today, my friends. It, of course, is ESA playing against Space Station Gaming, the most consistent team in Pro League so far.
James, how about you?
Song-wise, I guess it would be Every Day I'm Hustling because, you know, it's not going to be easy to get this KP, to get these placements. You're going to have to work real hard for them. NA is always hustle and bustle. It's always really hard and merciless. And just like to move from A to B to try and get into zone, like it's not going to be easy, whether you got Valk or not. Sometimes we got Valks on Valks. There just isn't the space to be able to do what you want to do. People are going to try and impose their will on you from start to finish, and you're going to have to try and defend against that.
Not scripted, by the way. That was all Kate completely throwing us for a loop there. Nice shot.
I did. I told them I would throw them, and yet here they both were, calm, cool, and collected, which is excellent. Let's talk about what we've got today, and that is to say what we had last time you saw North America. And to do that, we've got a lovely explainer video. Take a look.
Well, it's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It's Apex Legends time, North America.
Finding themselves in a bad spot here, only one left there.
Shiny going up the balloon. I don't know if that's going to be effective or if he's been taken out as well. If he can survive for a few seconds, it might be the difference between getting top 10 and top 6. But look at SSG, center zone right now, and not missing a single bullet as the Nile picks up another.
We should play for second. We should play for second. Oh, no. Swing it right. One on right. I got one. Left for me. Crack. God. Oh, God. Baby, it's too easy. It's too easy.
And just by doing damage, you can at least push teams back. And if you get a knock, that's when it gets interesting.
Oh, 100 Thieves, they're going to have to use the bubble now for that res. However, look at this. One team is going to be padding in. Sinus, please. Might have just decided it's time to go. Vayne manages to get one. Ommu manages to get one as well. And then Sinus, please now find themselves down to one. Ommu managed to escape for now. However, he will fall. Vayne's still alive. He'll go back in after hitting the battery, but this just opens the door for Astro Esports to come in and surely finish things off. And that will be the win going to Astro.
Sheesh, they're holding down this tunnel here, this vault area, and it looks like they're going to try and surprise the team because Timmy is in such a sneaky place.
He's holding that spot. He's holding his shot for this reason. Ooh. Now he just gets to reign supreme. Oh, no. This is what Timmy does. These are the Timmy plays. Starts off with 100 damage and continuing to melt right now. It looks like Sheesh should be able to win this fight. Has to clutch out these shots. Timmy's going to want those back. And no, as I say that, Timmy unfortunately misses some of the 88 shots, and Sheesh is going to get taken out. SXG does not lose 3v3s.
Hit this and come bubble. Hit this and bubble out. Bubble out now. Bubble on me. Bubble on me. Bubble on me. Bubble on me. Caustic all this center bud. Kill this Caustic now. Now. Caustic still on us. We gotta kill this Caustic. Valk. Only Valk above you. Only Valk. Oh no. Nice try.
100 Thieves also involved in this fight, and somehow they managed to win it as well, but only momentarily. That was the last member alive.
Esports Arena find themselves in these positions so often.
Tech goes down. It's now 3v1. Hakulo, good luck, my friend. Esports Arena.
But it's X-Set with the God spot and the high ground looking to close this one out. Great shots being put in. Clarify goes down. It's all up to Kenny and Klain, and they should be able to close it out, Gaston.
There is no way that X-Set should lose this. The only thing that punishes them if there's a Wraith alive on the other team, but the two teams down below should have done enough damage to one another. That Klain, being very smart here, trying to play around the barrels, will work in tandem with his teammate. X-Set are the champions of game number 6, and that's going to be enough to secure the victory in Group C versus D here in week number 2.
Well, here we are. XSET certainly making headlines the last time NA came around. Fallout, how are we feeling about them going in as we take a look in a moment to our teams coming up here in today's lobby?
Feeling great about this XSET roster. It's been great to see XSET enter the competitive Apex Legends scene. They, of course, have been in almost every esport title and been making splashes, making noise. Big shout out to PR, the manager of this squad, but they've been looking great. We're going to talk about them a little later.
Absolutely. Okay, James, who do we got as we, as we take a look at what we're going to see here today with our EMEA participating, as we mentioned, Group B and Group D. Don't worry, gang. A and C happening tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got another nice mix of teams to go up against each other. And we're going to see some more Team Sheesh today. Definitely a favourite for the people tuning in and for me as well. It's just some great, huge personalities on this team. But there's no shortage of personality. And I think with the kind of game that Apex is, you certainly hear that in the comms as well. Lots of teams are going to stick out today. We're going to have some eyes on the likes of NRG, Ghost Gaming again, CLG, 100Cs. There's a lot of teams to look at. There's still a lot of heavy hitters in this lobby between B and D.
Yeah, and Kale, I'll say one thing about a couple of teams on this list. Obviously, you have the teams like SSG, ESA, who are dominating the Pro League. XSET played well last week, but a couple teams I have my eye on, G2, Furia, and Ghost Gaming. Where you at? We need to see them have a big performance. And if EMEA taught us anything, Kate, it is this Pro League is an evolution. That's what's brilliant about this format. You can have teams that grind in scrims, improve week over week, and then maybe in the middle of the league or the end of the split, they start to perform and they can still qualify and get top 10 to make it to playoffs. So I'm looking at those teams, G2, Ghost, and Furia. You got to perform here in week 3.
Well, speaking of teams that got to perform and those that we are looking at, I'm pretty hungry to find out who our analysts have. And so that means it's time for our Lenovo Team Swatch. Okay, Fallout, give it to me straight. Who do we have number 1 on this Lenovo Team Swatch list?
Yeah, we mentioned the must performs, right? But these are the teams that you got to keep an eye out for because they have been performing. And that team is Space Station Gaming, the most dominant team in Pro League so far. 19 points in first place, has been so consistent. They won in week 1. They got top 3 in week number 2. SSG is on fire right now. They are in first place overall in the North America standings over the likes of Cloud9, Sentinels, NRG, TSM, so many teams that you would have expected to kind of be in that top 3. No, it's Space Station on top. The former mouse and keyboard roster has signed by Space Station. Of course, Rex is on that roster, the captain of that team, the IGL, former IGL of NRG. Space Station is looking so incredibly strong right now, James.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dropped is, I like to call him Jibzilla. I like to look for a Jibzilla each day, but I think he might just be the Jibzilla full stop. And then moving on to Esports Arena. This is a team, I think they're a very strong team. Zach thinks they're one of the top 3 teams in NA at the moment. And I think they're going to be very favorable and certainly one to look at in this particular matchup, especially without Sentinels in this group. Sentinels ratted them in a choke point last week and absolutely destroyed them. And I think that heavily impacted their potential chances to have an even better placing last week overall. I spoke to Volus earlier today and he said that Sentinels are known for ratting in chokes like that, yet they still let it happen. They won't have to worry about that this week with B versus D, so I expect good things from them today.
Yeah, this has certainly been the breakout team. I think undoubtedly they've been playing so well, and you saw that start to pop up in ALGS championships, right? They had kind of an unexpected great performance there. And speaking of breakout teams, this is my rising star squad. I told you we talk about them later. Well, they deserve to be talked about. XSET enters Apex Legends by picking up this roster, and they've been looking so good. This roster wasn't really a pre-existing roster. They kind of formed 3 great free agents. Rambo obviously used to be on this squad, but it's Klain, it's Kenny, and it's Clarify. Clarify has been doing it for a long time throughout all of ALGS, all the way since the early online tournaments. Used to get top 3 finishes. But one thing to note about this team, they don't have a championship win yet in ALGS majors. So they've won obviously in Pro League. That was last week. They looked great. They got to keep that consistency up all throughout Pro League. They got to take that to the split playoffs. And I want to see that consistency reign supreme, but they've been dominating in scrims this week, Kate. They're looking really, really strong.
They are indeed. 3 teams to watch. Brought to you by Lenovo. This has been our Lenovo Teams to Watch. I mean, the consistency that we saw in EMEA earlier today, certainly the consistency between all of these teams. James, is there any one particular, team that you could potentially see coming off and doing double duty on these big tournament wins here in our group stages?
I think Ghost Gaming always have an outside chance. I had some eyes on them last week as well, and I think they didn't go as deep as I think they were capable of, but they can always do that. They're always threatening to do that, and they could certainly do that this week as well. We had eyes on NRG, so I think I have to highlight them as well. For me, I'd pick those two as definitely two teams who could definitely have multiple deep runs here, but maybe they won't be allowed, especially with all these Valks flying around.
All those pesky Valks all over the place. I love it. And I like what you said there. We've definitely got some teams, Fallout, that we know can do better than where they are. And I'd be curious to see if there's any other outlier, any other, honorable mentions that you want to talk about, perhaps in sort of the middle section of our lobby.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time talking about three in particular. Another one would be ERA Eternity or Era Eternity. That's another squad that, you look at them on roster. Bowser's made elevated. They're a member of Renegades who performed really, really well at ALGS Champs, got replaced on that roster. I'm looking out for them. But listen, at the end of the day, it's one team, and everyone has their eye on that team. And everyone knows that team needs to perform, and that's G2 Esports. I mean, they're a top 3, top 5 historic team in ALGS, former aim assist squad that worked their way, grinded their way up the ranks, all 3 controller players. They haven't performed up to expectations here so far in Pro League, but they're talented. They're wicked good. I'm excited to see if Gentrifying, Resulta, and co can do it. Design's obviously one of the best controller players in the game. I have my eyes on them to go big here.
Well, speaking of eyes on, we've got our talent predictions, which I'm hoping I'm holding on to hope here. We'll see what happens, but we've got that that we've had with our talent here, talking about exactly which teams we had in our sights. And here we go, gang. Here we go. I see James, Fallout, and Onset, all 3 of you really coming in hot with that Space Station Gaming nod. James, I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but talk to me a little bit about why you picked them.
Well, they are one of the strongest teams in the game. At the moment, I think it's fair to say. I was watching Zach stream from Cloud9 last week as well. He was watching one of the broadcasts, and I watched his analysis, and he regards them as one of the top 3 teams in the game. So I don't think it's a bad choice to make Space Station for sure. I would expect them to deliver more again. We had some nice consistency earlier on in the EMEA from some teams, and I look to see that from Space Station Gaming. Last week they had 1 first place. Maybe this week they can have 2.
Last second here, Fallout. Any special Space Station Gaming shout-outs you want to talk?
Yeah, no, I think we covered them well. They've been playing so incredibly well. They've been consistent. They've been the best team in North America, which 3 weeks ago I wouldn't have said going into Pro League. So they turned some heads. They proved us wrong. 5th place at ALGS Championships. But one thing I got to say, this team has never won a major championship. Hasn't gotten that win under their belt. So the question is, can they continue to perform as high as their expectations have been set for themselves over the last 3 weeks? But in my eyes, they're so great. I think they will.
Well, let's find out what happens here in game number 1. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back over to you both. Game number 1.
Cheers, boss. We'll see more of Kate later on. A quick question for you, Fallout.
What's up?
We have hop-ups for the Mastiff on the way. Are you excited, or do you have a sense of dread?
Listen, as a guy that comes from Gears of War, I'm excited. Anything that's going to help support the shotgun game and the shotgun meta in Apex Legends is going to elevate my game on controllers. I'm looking forward to that for sure. But as we jump into gameplay here, we got to kick things off with Space Station Gaming. Has been dropping on the far southwest side of the map, just north of G2, dropping Thermal Station over in Lava Fissure, and that's been working so incredibly well for them. They've been on point in their rotations. This Valkyrie, Caustic, and Gibraltar team composition has been working great for this squad, James.
And they will go for information immediately. Information is key, information is power, or knowledge is power if you play Mortal Kombat. Time to pick up the weapons now as they get the ring information out for the team, so they'll quickly try and loot as much as possible. That building didn't have much in it, did it? But maybe downstairs does, and maybe there can be a desirable second weapon found. The longbow, kind of popular, especially in the early game. Get those Evo shields up, but you can get some nice kills with the longbow as well, so that will be an attractive weapon for Space Station to collect.
That's right. So I'm just going to loot up, get there, and again, they actually drop and get the early intel, and that's what makes them so good. The rotations, one of the early rotating teams, and take a look at this ring. It's going to be pulling right south of them. So this is a great ring for SSG, for NRG, and for G2 in Thermal Station. But my question is, how is G2 going to play this? Last time we saw this zone, G2 actually went into the high watchtower in Thermal Station, and there was actually a team just north of them that came and stole that spot for them. That team's not playing in this lobby as they were in Group A. So I think they'll be able to maintain control. I think you can expect G2 to stay put in Thermal Station. We'll see if that comes to fruition here, but look at Frex is already moving south. The keyboard and mouse turn controller player starting his rotation earlier is Frex.
Do you think Space Station are the biggest threat in North America? For me, I think along with Cloud9, I think they're maybe the two most dangerous squads at present. Obviously, TSM are not in the best form that we've seen from them at the moment, but you do have to mention them. Personally, I think it's between Space Station and Cloud9. I think Cloud9 are the most aggressive team we have in North America, but I was curious as to your opinion.
Yeah, you know, and I mentioned in the pre-show 3 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely not. But the way they've been playing, you'd be crazy not to say that. Space Station Gaming right now is on top of North America. Cloud9 right behind them. I can't wait for that matchup, obviously. That's what's great about this Pro League is we're going to see all these groups play each other twice in this double round robin throughout the 12 weeks. As a result, the top 10 teams in standings qualify for the Split 1 playoffs. And right now, Space Station, Cloud9, they're in the top 3 alongside ESA. So I agree. Space Station on top, Cloud9 right behind them. I think we're going to see TSM, and I think we're going to see these guys, G2, really perform in the mid to late game of the split.
On the subject of aggression, I think that the early games are a nice time to maybe get that dome in a building and try to break a team who are posting up, as we see some hesitation from some of the middling teams, and maybe that could be the difference maker. So we'll see if anybody's able to do that today. We can see 100 Thieves getting some ring information now as well, and just spotting those early rotations that we're seeing off the balloons and such, and the Valks, of course. So we'll see what they're able to do, as they are pretty close to the grey ring and not too far from the green ring either.
100 Thieves drops launch site, so they're just going to work their way on the dead side of this zone, on the south side of the map, past tree, and find their way into thermal station for the rotation. So you might see them put some pressure and expect a potential collide, long-range poke between 100 Thieves as well as G2, who did end up positioning, as I mentioned earlier, in that watchtower and thermal station. This is how they run these southern zones. They, you know, it's interesting though, because they don't necessarily always succeed or play well when they get zones that pull towards them. They are certainly an edge fighting team, and that's when we see G2 really pop off. So I'm interested to see if G2 can make it to late game here, learn from some of their mistakes as we jump on board with our Mexican CMX. They get tagged up quite a bit and knocked already. Yeah, the legacy's going to be lacking in game one the way this one is going. That's an early problem with a Gambly Valko. Oh, maybe we'll just land on this building. Oh, no, I'm dead. So we've got one of the 3 remaining players now, and that is a disastrous start for Legacy MX. They will be ejected from this lobby very early on indeed. That is the first squad to go down, and the only 3 players as well, 19 squads and 57. And that is the danger that we see as far as the Valkults are concerned. And that's why I think, like, over time, we're going to see more of that Octane, more of that Wraith come back, especially because I think those shorter rotations are going to be generally safer. The further you want to go into the zone, the more you may be punished for it. Because let's not forget, teams are landing all over this map. Yeah, that's right. Space Station now working their way to the far southwest choke. And this is what they like to do on these southern zones, on these rotations. They love holding this choke point and maintaining this position, as it's a fairly good opportunity to gatekeep teams out of the ring. They pick up some KP along the way if you can, and we obviously have a great high ground position. And then as that zone ends up moving, they can just kind of slowly work their way in through edge. So great position right now from Space Station. Meanwhile, if you're an NRG fan, you're a fan of how they started. A couple kills picked up alongside Era Eternity. Meanwhile, Ghost Gaming working from the far north side of the map, a team that likes to pick their fights, loves to play edge, and you're going to expect them doing that throughout the entirety of this 6-game series here with Bloodhound in hand of Panders, the controller god.
Last week, Ghost plays 16th, 18th, 11th, 12th, 7th, and 9th. So quite lacking in their results, but we certainly know what they're capable of, which is why I expect more from them this week. And hey, sometimes you're going to have a bad week, but maybe this time it can be different. We can see that Fourier are in a pretty good spot as far as their armor is concerned. They've got very colorful armor. Purple and gold will be very nice indeed, as I'm sure there are still some people running around with gray. Don't seem to have anyone contesting them at present, so they're chilling, crafting, making those bats.
Yep. Yeah, and they're not going to have anyone contesting them over at Skyhook with the southwest zone. They're just going to instead play very similarly to how we saw the team in EMEA play when they actually went to survey camp. They crafted, they took their time, they're getting the loot that they want. That's what you'd expect from Furia. Playing with Fuse, the only team in North America representing Fuse here, at least, in this lobby, I believe, today, as we'll see if that comes to fruition here. But they'll take their time in that rotation from Skyhook. And again, our observer is doing a great job kind of following the key storylines here. I mentioned the 3 must-perform teams, G2, Furia, and Ghost Gaming. The teams that had high expectations coming into Pro League haven't performed yet. We've already checked in with all 3 of them. Speaking of G2 here, they find themselves in a little long-range poke battle between 3 teams.
Yeah, they're chilling, though. They're in the zone.
Look at Gent, though.
Yeah, he's out there.
Let's go here.
That's your Wraith, right?
Yeah,
You're gonna let
exactly.
your Wraith kind of free roam. You're gonna let your Wraith do things like that. Try and get intel. Try and maybe make some plays and steal some KP, especially if you're G2. We saw that from Garna earlier. Gentrifying, though, gonna work his way back. And the G2 squad actually opting for the Bloodhound pick immediately. So G2 going back to their DNA, back to what works. And I was really critical of them early on in Pro League, running a different team comp. I'm glad they're back to Bloodhound because that's what works so well for them playing Edge.
Yeah, we have certainly seen a number of teams with some uncomfortable experimentation, it's fair to say, which is an interesting thing as far as scrims are concerned. We can see that 100 Thieves can just say hello to their friends outside, their buddies. You know, behind that unbreakable window, they can just be chilling. This is
like a zoo.
And it's our friends esports arena actually. So that can't be comfortable for them being on the outside, but they can just crouch and say hello to each other. I wouldn't go as far as to do an emotes. Let's not be crazy now. But
take a look at these gazelles in their natural habitat,
right?
Bunny hopping up and down. Someone's just taking a look and enjoying the view here at the zoo.
But I guess they can both understand. They can both understand. Hey, okay, you guys will be over there. We're going to be over here. And, you know, we can see both Caustics have got a barrel either side of the door. And I feel like that's like a mode of communication. They're just waiting for everybody else to rotate in. They're not really offering any threat to each other.
And Vane's like, hey, by the way, if you want to push us, we got a caustic barrel ready for you, so don't you dare. Meanwhile, hey, by the way, imagine, oh, actually, I'd take that back. Hold that thought. We got a fight here, so expect 100 Thieves to want a third party this. The team's going to come and try and grief, and Stick's going to come through for Skittle. Not going to do too much, actually, outside of just force them back a little bit for now, but he's hurt. He's going to have to heal back up, and we got 3 teams. Duplex is going to go down, and G2 is nearby as well. You better believe they're going to want to enter the fight.
Yeah, Exit have got some problems. Clarified down by the caustic gas, and there are going to be so many teams there. It's going to be a meeting for the Mines. Hostile territory, and it's only going to increase. We've got barrels all over the place. How do you even keep track of whose barrel is what? Duplex is in a lot of trouble, and I don't know if they're going to be able to res him now. That course, it's going to have to work overtime. So the door's been blown off, which maybe is going to encourage 100 Thieves to get involved. However, they can retreat to the upstairs as well. So I think this is offering some discomfort for almost all concerned now. Duplex down again after being res. You can see Design getting involved as well. And this is only going to go from bad to worse.
And there's that third party and poke from G2 on cue. You saw the scan come in from the Bloodhound, and you see them just trying to enter the fight. But again, they have that Wraith portal to get back to their safe spot, to get back to their base. I love what I'm seeing out of G2. A lot more aggressive this time around. They're playing as we're used to seeing G2.
Yeah, Designful really is needling them. He's really getting cheeky with those peaks. Duplex is desperately trying to get some armor up. He got his health up at the very least, and Designful's just like, I think I might just bring your shields and health down again and again and again. But he's got some healing to do. So G2 enjoying the little skirmishes there. And again, that's the beauty of a Wraith portal. In and out, having some skirmishes. Something that you can't necessarily do with the Valk situation. So they're chilling again. Just getting their shields up and so on. But the fact we still have 19 squads left with those exchanges and those downs on both sides, let's not forget. Exit had clarified drop to the caustic gas, but they managed to keep him alive. Duplex is up as well. And everyone's still kind of remaining in this same area. And look how big the ring is. We have so many teams focused in that small area, but there's still so much space to work with.
Yeah, look at so many squads. We got Renegades, we got Xset, 100 Thieves, ESA, some heavy hitters all within the vicinity, and of course G2 just lurking from the high ground here.
Do you think G2's position kind of stops Xset fighting with Esports Arena? Because they're either side of the building, but if they engage too much, G2 may just come in for that 3P immediately.
Oh, yeah, and not just G2, but the fact that there's 5 teams within one area. So absolutely, the opportunity and the threat for the third party is what's stopping this fight from happening right now. Meanwhile, we got G2 who's thirsty. They're hungry. They want to fight. Let's go ahead and jump into our first listen-in with G2.
Team out here on this rock.
Target spotted.
Wait, look. Left corner. Cracked.
Caustic's still there.
Everything out of fucking hollow. Nice.
Let's go this way.
I have to fight this team over here, I think, on the right.
Unless we go all the way right
We should go here.
and rotate to like this side.
Might be something good this way.
What's that team in that rock doing?
Right, look right here, right here.
I'm moving right now. They're jumping down.
We're gonna have to go across
Can't
that
get-
different station.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go
We have
this
to wait
way.
for this team to move. Yeah, we have to wait for this team to move
I
though.
think.
The fuse is still top.
This team dev, team Val ulted out.
But they climbed up. Almost flying right now.
Alright, we gotta go this way.
Alright, let's go.
This team is
Good?
still under here, I think. Yeah, let's go.
Alright.
Do you have port or no?
Yeah, I do. Did we just run up?
There's a team up here still. I don't know if this
Yeah.
person or not.
They definitely do.
Yeah, he's looking.
Should be fine. What is that, double
We're gonna
wingman?
have to port us underneath.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go underneath.
No, we gotta get closer then. This doesn't... I can do it right there.
Do it. I cracked the
They'll
valve.
probably be...
Turn up.
Alright, it's in,
Taking it instantly. Let's go.
Coming.
There's people...
And I love that we caught that entire listen-in throughout its entirety. Getting to hear where they decide to rotate, how they decide to play that rotation. It's a perfect rotation for G2. Meanwhile, looks like Furia is out of this one.
Yeah, Esports Arena's patience paid off. Again, they were on the opposite side of the outside to exit. They were able to hold their position and take the inside for the time being and get some KP, of course. They will still have to get their rotation game on, but that is a successful situation for them at the very least. G2 now rotated into that tunnel, but they're forced away, and Designful has been completely finished for now. And his banner will have to be rescued. They can take this building for the time being, but that is a situation that they're going to have to correct. So we'll see how that one plays out for them. 16 squads all of a sudden, and again, it was a very busy area very early on.
And it's the battle of the majority controller squads. Ghost Gaming, who flanks with aggression, takes out Designful. We got a replay here. Take a look. Ghost melting, absolutely dominating so far. This is the Ghost that we know. The team that's arguably one of the best arenas team in all of Apex Legends because they're so good in pound-for-pound 3v3 fights. You see them wipe an entire squad right there. And of course, Designful gets taken out. They're not going to be able to recover his banner, so G2 just down to 2.
Turbocharged Devotion. That is a chef's kiss, and Ghost is showing us why. Absolutely nasty up close. Absolutely nasty indeed. Melt is the operative word. See the L-Star and the Scout for Noble. Oh, we get some cracks now with the bad boys. We'll see if they can get some KP from this. Promos has one already, looking for a second one, but I guess it'll go to one of his teammates. Got a defensive bombardment as well, and this ring is starting to get smaller. So 16 squads are up at present, but I think that will change very soon. Popping the batters, they got some more engagements, but we may see a fallback from their opponents as they are out in the open and vulnerable to a 3-peat.
Yeah. Love to check in on Space Station as well, see how they're faring in their decision making. And again, they decided to hold the westernmost choke. And that was a great decision based on where this ring pulled, correctly predicting where this ring is pulling. Checking them when we can. But guess what? It's Vayne from 100 Thieves. The ALGS champ is out of this one. The hands of Impulse from Noble. Noble's not done yet. They got to connect for yet a few more kills. Finds one. Gets a good crack. But he's going to go into his ultimate beast of the hunt for Impulse. Him and Lucas need to go absolute beast mode right now if they want to survive.
Using the faster speed to get out of there. Oh, the Arc Star's going to be a problem. His teammate's trying to shield as best he can. Does he have a chance for the res? The Thermal's not going to connect immediately. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get this res up. Scanning to try and find the info. There's a caustic barrel there as well, which definitely doesn't belong to his team. And I'm not sure if he's going to make it. A third attempt to res is failing, and he's trying to get behind the rocks, but he's on the floor. And you can see his teammate Lucas has got about 1 HP, but he does have the armor up. He just needs to avoid those caustic barrels, otherwise he's a goner.
Yeah, it's going to be Lucas now just trying to rat his way to a top finish here. Going to be tough to do. Nice shot from ESA Black. They're putting on the pressure. They're keeping that pressure, and they're getting a ton of kill points along the way. I got to say, this team is the real deal. ESA Black currently in second place in the overall standings and showing exactly why.
15 squads up. We were asking questions for NRG earlier on, and that's a great crack with the Q. His teammates are pushing ahead of him as well. Quick scan to see how much danger the other team are in, and they'll soon find out because it looks like NRG are on the hunt. But I see some grenades coming their way, and they will hop back a little bit. They are out in the open now, forced to dome, and they're going to just foul code out of there. But this team are so close, they could go for a spray down here. I wonder if there'll be any connections made. Their armor's up, and I know the other team doesn't have their armor up, so they will focus on healing instead, since he could be vulnerable. Well, that is a cheeky land. Just trying to... Well, this is a safer way, I suppose, to approach a Valkyrie, but it does limit where you can go afterwards.
Yeah. They're not going to have all the intel that they would have from that Valkyrie, so instead they're just going to be forced to drop and fight like NRG does. They find a 3v3. They find an opportunity. Can they connect for the kills, though? One of the best fighting and slaying teams with these two, Nathan and Rocker. Sweet Dreams calling away, but Rocker's going to get tagged up. It's going to be a team wipe. Look how fast they did it. Sheesh is out. Nice Wig and his community is devastated.
Absolutely, and Ghosts have had all kinds of trouble as well. I think they just got deleted. And talk about CLG, they've just been ruined as well. We are losing squads very fast indeed. You can see on the map now the area that these teams have to play with. There aren't all the buildings in the world once this ring closes, and there are bullets flying in all directions. Space Station just enjoying some fun under the bridge, observing the carnage. Posted up with barrels. They're okay for now. Not looking to engage unless they absolutely have to. We can see there is a team immediately above them as well. So again, we've got symbiotic parasites essentially sharing a space. It can be beneficial to both as long as they attack in other directions.
Hey, listen, ALGS Saturdays, also biology lessons, courtesy of my man James here, as we watch. Dropped right now, just playing really, really sneaky. SSG has been avoiding fights. You see not many kills. They haven't really loaded the kill feed. They've just been playing a placement-heavy game, a rotation-heavy game, which is their style of play, especially with Caustic. You want to get to late game, you want to get into those small rings, and you want to use Caustic to find success. And for now, it's working great, but they're not going to have a leveled-up Evo shield. They don't have a ton of loot. That might hurt them.
Yeah, I suppose they'll be going for that late KP, and they may be reliant on some boxes, and all the boxes, as we can see, are above them. So they're more or less disengaged at present, just admiring the scenery. They'll just about be in the zone. There's a scan above them, but there's no real way for that team to engage, and they got to focus on the larger threats, really, or opportunities, teams to exploit, and I don't think Space Station will be one of those just yet. We'll see if they go for one of those small ring Valkults later on. Now, NRG have got some significant high grounds here, so they need to think about what their nearest threats are, the teams that could stop them making a first or second place, for example. We're going to have a listen in and see how they're approaching this.
Right below me, right below me.
No, chill, sweet, chill. There's a team to your left.
Oh yeah, it's a full team right below me. It's a full team right below me. It's a full team right below me.
There's like another team out there.
I know. I forced their bubble below. There's a full team
trying to push me, kinda.
No, they're not. He's not.
Can we try to kill this team below? We force these guys out. They have to fight near us. There's a full team right here. Cue these guys.
Okay, I'm marking them.
Yeah, arc them. They have no bubble.
Marking them. Good idea on them.
We got ulti.
We got ulti. I'm backing up.
Yeah.
Popping one soul.
I don't want a bubble.
Alright, don't. We need to re-peek that and kill these fucking kids. They have no bubble sitting there. I think they aped somebody. They're aping left. Right left. Wait.
I'm on top of the rock. Yeah, I'm chilling.
Just literally wait. I think G2 might still be right below you, Nate. On your right. Are they not? No, they're not.
No.
They have a knock right here.
I can ult this team. I can ult them.
Yeah, do it. Caustic 60.
Killing them. No, Robbie behind us.
They're flushed.
No, watching behind us. Look behind.
Cracked another one.
Yeah, look behind.
They're not climbing though.
Yeah, hold behind. They're all on one rock. 60 on Valk. We gotta hold this, boys. Do not let anyone climb here.
Peek the Valk. Valk's cracked.
Chill. Yeah, just bubble. We burn their bubble. We're fine.
Popping about.
Yeah, me too.
Team on our left might swing. We have to watch that.
No, they can't. We're too high on them. Then they're in shambles. These guys in below us are gonna get farmed. All we gotta do is walk in late here, okay?
Give me cracked. I'm low.
Chill. Don't peek over. There's a team sitting in a train car cell here that can kill you. We just need to...
Shit on them! One shot. I killed their Gibby. Just relax. They have no Gibby below us no matter what.
I'm chilling.
The guy in the train car is one. Got a knock. Falk is one.
Falk is 60.
Falk is 1 HP.
Yeah. Look left. Sweet, turn around.
I killed two below.
Okay. They can't reach.
Come all blow.
Nice. We need to look at this team north. We need to look at
on this. I only have a shotgun. Get close. Holding this. Get on the rock.
There's a Valkyrie. I'm climbing the Valk. Crack them.
Push us.
Give me. Chill.
Caustic.
Nice.
Yeah, get a swap. You can res him. You can honestly res him.
Okay.
He's dead.
3 teams. Got a bubble in front of us, Rocker. Bubble.
It's not Christmas unless you're NRG. They are absolutely dominating from the high ground, and it's so important they keep that. You can see they're keeping all the teams off the high ground. If they can keep that, then they surely have to be the favorites to win here.
Absolutely. That listen-in was pristine, and NRG finds himself with high ground. They hold on to it. They maintain, and they've played this late game near perfect. This is textbook Apex Legends. Take note for NRG as they connect for one, maintain high ground, find one of the squads. Now it's just easy pickings. It's hunting season, baby. NRG looking for the last rat, looking for the last KP, and they're going to find it. NRG with a near perfect game number 1.
Now that is what I call map control. They did not allow anybody to rise, and you could see people were stuck in the ring. They were trying to climb desperately because they had no choice, but they were climbing to their doom. They were begging for mercy. There was none on offer. NRG dominate from above, absolutely storm that one. I think that's one of the strongest map controls we've seen, where we had a great clip with their comms as well. They just stopped everybody from coming towards them. It would be suicide to try and push from any cover you had. They had the far left cover, they had the far right covered. Esports Arena had nowhere to go. They burned their Gibby out, they got their Gibby down as well, and Sweet caused them all kinds of problems from up top. 15 kills, maybe the best we've seen so far, I don't know, but that's definitely up there.
James, I'm triggered. Can I tell you I'm triggered?
You're triggered?
NRG was my prediction last week. They absolutely are nowhere to be found, and here we are now. Week number 3, they dominate in game number 1. 15 kills. This is the NRG you know is so incredibly talented from an orchestration, from a team firing, from an individual skill perspective. 10 out of 10 in every category. When NRG is firing on all cylinders, this is what happens, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm triggered.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the narratives for last week. Where are NRG? And they have certainly turned up today. The synergy between the members is fantastic. Didn't overextend too much. Had aggression in the right places. Watching Sweet engage and disengage to not allow himself to get downed was really, really beautiful. Just did enough damage, but didn't outstay his welcome. And they dominated from above. Utterly beautiful stuff. Held onto their dome. Didn't panic when they had players who were cracked. Just stayed behind some cover. Popped the bat. Held onto that dome. So important. That was a really beautiful finish from NRG. They had every other team under their thumb.
Yeah, and I said last week, I meant to say week number 1, I take that back. But yeah, look at this game. Oh my gosh, 2K plus damage, 2.2K plus damage for Sweet and Rocker. Nathan with nearly 2K as well. That is just an insane game from these guys, start to finish. The thing that always impresses me, I talk about it often, but Sweet's ability to IGL at such a high level, while also slaying at such a high level, playing as Wraith, it is just one of the most remarkable things I've seen. It's kind of on the same par as Imperial Hal, obviously. There's a good little rivalry between them and friendship between them, but Sweet is one of a kind as it comes to a star in Apex Legends.
And we've got 4 more games to come, so there's plenty more Sweet, and there'll be other teams looking for revenge as well. Game 3 is just around the corner. We'll see you after the break.
Bogey right here.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
My daily routine that helps me improve my mental health is working out.
I have a cat, I have a dog, love spending time with them.
Sleep has been the most transformative thing for me, and it is so helpful.
I take the time to do like meditation and stuff like that.
Practice makes perfect into kind of breaking bad habits and building good ones.
I promote.
Yo promuevo y practico la salud mental positiva.
A dominating game one performance from NRG sets the stage here for game number 2. And welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Pro League North America with T-Squared and myself on set. I mean, what a performance from NRG in game one. The comms, the shots, and number one. I think it was pretty much perfect for them.
The positioning, literally inspiring. Everything that you see from NRG, you just makes you want to play Apex. The way that they bring the energy, the way they take the fight in the Dorito building against Sheesh, the way they hold the high ground. They're aware of every single team on set. They don't have the player outlines like we do. They're keeping track and tabs of every single team and every single teammate. Every single teammate was doing their own thing and also coaching each other. It was great. One of the things I loved is you're like, listen, when everyone's talking that fast, you have to have small talk within the game. And not only that, just like the guys were saying, they're able to shoot and just hit their shots at the same time.
We'll take a look at the highlights of that game one because it was the NRG show, and that listen in, I should say, really did give us a little peek behind the curtain of what goes on in NRG with the decision making. And the one thing that I can always take away from it, Tom, is when a decision is made, there's never any second guessing. The decision is called and they go.
They go immediately. It's so nice to see it. When you full send onto a team just like Team Sheesh, you have to hit your shots. You have to have communication. Not only that, they're able to just micromanage every single thing that's going on. The fact that they were able to keep track again of where everybody was at, not only that, but filter teams into one another, decide when was enough pressure, when to back off, when to bubble, when not to bubble. Literally everything was perfect. As you can see, they don't overextend it. Hitting these shots are not easy, but one thing you'll notice is the use of the L-Star, especially from Sweet. He almost always has it, and whether it's, you know, a 3x or something medium to long range, that weapon is doing serious damage for energy.
It certainly is causing sunburn to many people on the servers. It's knocking people left, right, and center, and Sweet was at the center of it. But another team that once again had a pretty good performance was Esports Arena. I mean, these guys are always there, Tom, and Space Station Gaming, even though maybe they didn't get the points for KP, their placement was still pretty good as well. But NRG, 27 points. It's really the only story to take away from that game one.
Yeah, and NRG and Esports Arena, they're rocking the same composition, right? It's the meta with Valkyrie, Caustic, and Gibby, and you can see why, because of the fact that you need to go and make certain plays at certain times. If you're in a situation where the zone bounces away from thermal station, it goes back over to staging, then you need to Valkyrie redeploy, and you need to be able to take a fight immediately. That's not easy to do. The fact that they went on top of the mountain, they used the 15 seconds that they had to wait for the bubble to heal. All those little plays add up, because if you go into a fight against Sheesh and you don't have say, full shields, then you're going to end up losing that fight, or the third party is going to come. So all the little plays that they did leading up were so awesome. But to me, it was all about the communication, because when we have so many teams that are close in terms of the way that they shoot and the way that they move around and strategize, the communication and the teamwork is what's going to set everybody else apart.
With a perfect start for NRG, and now we've got to ask, can they do it again, or is it going to be the story of someone else sort of taking that mantle away? Should throw in there as well, pretty good zone for NRG dropping over at stage, and obviously that was where it's finished. But I want to talk about zones a little bit, Tom, because as we head into our game 2, for the first time today, both me and you had a raised eyebrow when we saw that pull around ring 3, ring 4. It's getting a little bit shifty here, a little bit unpredictable on where those zones are going to be moving.
That's why I was a little concerned for G2 when they were like, oh, the zone moved. Oh, it's away from us. Not bad. And then they just kind of were pretty chill about the way that they go about it. And sometimes you communicate really quick, and sometimes you communicate really slow and chill. That's G2's style. They get really hyped towards the end of the games. I would like to see them get even more hyped. They're my pick, and I know that they have that type of capability to bring that to the table. As we take a look at the team dropping Dome, we didn't see anyone dropping Dome in the EMEA region, but I would love to see more central, more northern zones.
Well, let's see what comes up in game 2 then. You know what time it is, everybody. It's Apex time, and we're going to jump on board with Legacy MX, who kind of got wiped pretty early in the last game. Not the start they would have wanted. One of the teams that fell to the hands of G2 in the lobby. They'll be wanting to put in a performance because they were pretty impressive last week. They had that win on the board as well, and Tom gets his wish. We all get our wish. We're heading towards a little bit more north on the map here on World's Edge, but pretty central. You can see the Fragment, Epicenter all going to be involved, and I just wonder if we're going to have a finish around that bridge.
Yeah, take your pick. Which one do you want? Do you want to go over towards the west side? Do you want to go over towards the east side? I typically like to favor myself over towards the west side and that market side, but you're right. The bridge is such a popular ending. There's endings all around the bridge. This is going to be exciting to see in terms of the way the teams want to approach this situation, which buildings they're going to choose.
Era Eternity are the team who are actually landing over at Fragment East, so they're going to have a pretty comfortable time of things. For Legacy MX, it's not going to be quite as comfortable, though. They have to travel right down from the southern tip, but they do have Valkyrie, of course, with Jaguars. Or try that again. Let me try that again, Tom, because I can wrap my tongue around this one. Do you know what? I give up. Jaguares? Jaguares, there it is. I'm English. Can you tell? I have no foreign tongue, and I apologize to everyone who's watching. But their move is going to be much tougher. He is playing Valkyrie, so he's going to have the opportunity to hit them into the skies and make that distance a little bit shorter.
Yeah, and it's always just fun to see how fast these teams loot and when they get into their spots. Typically, it's right about now. If you're a fast team looting 145, 130 at the absolute latest in energy, they're on top of it. 145, they're already making their play, going over. You don't want to be on the outside of Fragment. That's going to be tough. A team that has a far rotation, that's going to be G2. They're already getting into a little skirmish in the backside over there from the rotation from the team that's dropping over towards Tree, but they're already aware of that. So you're going to see Designful. He's seen that a million times. They drop over here. No one's going to fool them.
Yeah, trying to get a cheeky pick maybe on someone going for that beacon on that building, the Hill House just on the outside of Thermal Station where they currently find themselves. But G2 not going to be too disappointed, I don't think, with that zone pull. As we know, they can work their way on from edge very, very comfortably. But it's going to be a big game, this, for G2. Once again, a decent, I would say, first game. But decent isn't good enough for them at this point. I really think that G2, it's not just a case of they need to put a game on the board here, Tom, for the sake of points, for the sake of leaderboards. I think it's a confidence thing now for G2, just to restore that and remind themselves how devastating a team they can be.
Well, they're a team that likes to fight. So when you kind of turtle them up in Thermal Station in game number 1 and put them on the high ground, they're not able to get into those skirmishes. And that's why you see them kind of setting that portal play, as we see Clarify get a knock onto Lucas. So Xset versus Noble possibly taking place. That was at EVA 8. So it has to be up close as we see NRG and their rotation coming through. Looks like they're favoring the west side broken building, which is always one of those powerful spots to hold.
Yeah, pretty difficult to hold, though, for the majority of this game, and we'll have to see where they play from here if they're going to try and hold this down. But just take a look at the clock. There was around 25 seconds left on Zone 1, where NRG, who land at staging, landed where they think is going to be the best spot to play. Legacy MX, the team that we watched from Dome, they make their move as well. This time they're landing on the other side of Fragment East, and now they're going to have the bubble down as well, because it's not looking like a comfortable landing here. A little bit of turbulence in the air.
Maybe they can get another Valkyrie redeploy? No, I don't know. They're in a tough spot because two teams holding both of these buildings, so maybe it coexists here on the bottom floor of somewhere or something along those lines, and that's exactly what it's going to be, is you're going to have CLG and Xset, and you know that Noble was in the area as well. So this is going to be an interesting spot now over towards this east side. Multiple teams over here. Legacy definitely had a really nice bubble there. You have to give them credit as Team Sheesh now making a play. another team inside of the 3-pill area, and Timmy, you know what he's gonna do. He's full sending.
Not hitting any shots quite as yet, though, but might have the opportunity to do so as the Gibby slides down the hill, but I don't think this is quite the damage that they want to happen. However, Mr. Longbow, Mr. Nicewig takes down Omnu, shoots him in the back just as he tried to escape around that corner. Uprise will get the finish on that one as well, so Sheesh make good of a situation that almost slipped through their fingers.
Wait a second, is it Nicewig on 100 Thieves, man? What's going on here? Shooting your teammate? No, he's not his teammate. In the back. That's just messed up there, Nicewig, but that's a really nice play from Timmy. You can see, even if he's not hitting his shots, he's going to still slide down there, play aggressive, and the rest of the team's going to follow up. And that is a tough situation for 100 Thieves, losing out on Onmu right there. And the aggression's not going to stop. They're already in the death box, looting, getting meds. They know they're stuck underneath the bridge, so I like this.
Well, for 100 Thieves, it's going to be a tough game moving forward as well, especially with 2 players. When it's kind of a more open zone, sometimes you can kind of hide behind a rock and get away with things, but you try and sneak your way through Fragment East or Fragment West when there's 20 teams alive, best of luck to you, is all I can say. Very, very difficult to do, and they're certainly going to have their work cut out for them, and it's looking even worse for them now because Timmy, he missed a few shots earlier with the 301, but this time he's finding bodies, and he should get this final knock as well. Timmy gets one. Uprise swoops in to get Scurry as well. 100 Thieves, first team out at the hands of Nicewig, which is a nice little taster.
I'm curious how they're going to reset here in terms of getting this loot, what the next priority is, and if they're going to take another fight. Let's get into a listen-in with Team Sheesh.
I only have mini meds right now.
You're vibing.
Or no bats.
Yeah, I have 9 cells.
Okay.
Good play, boys.
That was great. That was amazing.
Yeah, like that. That was like literally the early KP that we need.
Yep, that's a fucking confident booster. Let's keep it up. Don't forget, we are Caustic Valk. We can literally go, land first floor, and fucking ult something with a Caustic, or just bully our way into
literally what energy just did to us.
Yes, exactly. 100% bro.
Okay, we also have beacon. Someone just broke drone here. I don't know if that was one of you.
That was not. That was the team inside.
Yeah.
I need light.
I have so much light ammo too.
I think Caustic had light.
I have so much. I have 400. I just dropped 60 in the building too. The big building. Yeah, we're good.
We got the little bakeroonie here.
We've got to hear the moves from Team Sheesh, and to be honest with you, you can see the confidence growing. We talk about how important one fight can be for confidence. You can see it restored to Team Sheesh, and I tell you what, Intel, they look like they're on the way to winning a fight as well. Velhurst with the Prowler is going to get the damage done, and oh my word, it's a clean wipe again for Esports Arena. I tell you what, this is somewhat of a special team as they take down the train station team in front of them.
It doesn't get much cleaner than that. Not only does one player stay healthy and not get knocked, all of them keep a majority of their health. All they have to do is hit a syringe or two, and they're all going to be full, hit the quick armor swap, which means they're going to be ready for another team to fight if they get full sent on. And that's one of the last teams I'd want to fight in this lobby is Team Esports Arena. They won arena tournaments in the past. They dominate on a week-to-week basis, and they're just getting better and better every week.
One thing that I'd like to say about them as well, they don't lack confidence. If you watched some scrims last night, you might have kept your eyes on the in-game chat in the lobby, and Imperial Hal was saying, this can't believe what happened here, and Intel just went, get wrecked. Pretty much simple as that, and I like that. They don't back down from anyone. As Furia now, once again, playing in zone, and I want to get your opinion on this, Tom, because it's not the first time we've seen them take this approach to the game. They like to play deep inside a zone and rotate as late as physically possible. What's your take on this approach?
I think that if you're going to rotate late, being one of the latest to rotate is a good thing because everyone starts to get distracted on what's in front of them, and then you swoop in behind and start cleaning things up. So this is definitely a play as long as you have the meds. It's interesting to watch Hakulon fuse as the lone fuse in the lobby, but they get spotted out by one of the lone bloodhounds. So this is not what they were hoping for.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is see a bloodhound and get that scan down, and then you're all sorts of problems as the health will just be ticked away by the zone and just puts that little disadvantage. And the last thing you really want to happen, apart from that, is to run into G2 as the wingman shots are going to hit from Design 4. There's the crack of the shields, but it's not Stone Cold Steve Austin's entrance music. It's going to be Zeratricky going down as Design 4 moves in for the second. And oh my, Design 4, all three go into his back pocket.
And that's the Bloodhound scan. They heard some footsteps. All of a sudden, the team that plays the edge the most, G2, sniffs them out. You cannot take a page out of their book. That's how you do it for G2. And you know they were stoked to fight, Mark. Look at the wingman shots. Look at the L-Star shots. They're ready to go. They're upset. Game 1 slipped out of their hands.
Well, it's like I mentioned earlier, one fight can completely turn things around in a day for a team, and G2 getting that clean wipe, and to be honest, made it look like it wasn't even a challenge, might be what they need to just light that fire once again. Team Sheesh now making their way towards not only the next zone, but also towards that beacon as well. We can see we're maybe moving a little bit around the edge of Epicenter, still involved. It's going to be an interesting pull once more, but Timmy up on this high ground, up on this icicle, looking to look down and see if he can hit some chilly shots onto these players in the open, but Timmy's got to be careful.
It's big that they have the scan because they know that they can gatekeep going forward. And just like they were talking about in their comms, if they need to bully their way in with the Valkyrie redeploy and the Caustic Nox Gas Grenade, they can do that. So I'm excited to see what Team Sheesh is going to do. I think both of these teams desperately needed that confidence like you were talking about. You heard them say, we needed that early KP. I bet the same thing was going on for G2. They're like, nice try, boys. You can't sneak behind us. That's what you love to see. Those were two really great fights from both those teams.
Well, Ghost Gaming are the team on the bridge at the moment. We can only see 2 members for now, so you have to worry for them if that's just a duo they're going to have to play this game out from. Nice week with the R99 in hand. He's going to be trying to just locate that reticle onto the head of one of those players and boom them down. But for now, the shots aren't going to connect, but he's got plenty of ammo to work with moving forward. 17 squads remaining now, around a minute or so until round number 2 starts to close, and there's still a lot of areas to be played by these teams, Tom, so I don't think we're going to see too many teams fall as that circle starts to move.
Yeah, no one's going to really move yet because you can see how many buildings are in for Frag East, how many buildings are in for Frag West. You still have a couple of options over towards the northern side of the zone as well. Other teams are going to be playing edge and slowly moving on, which is what's going on the northern side of that epicenter area. So once we move on past zone number 3, once we move past onto zone number 4, it's going to be absolutely crazy. But right now, it's looking like Fragment East is going to be a great spot to be, but you never know about that bridge. That bridge gets a lot of zones.
It certainly does. We're going to have to see how that zone does pull once we get the opportunity to. G2 up on this high ground, kind of just moving behind Team Sheesh potentially in the background here, so those teams might engage. G2 just trying to keep their heads on a swivel here, though. It's actually Lazarus who are the first team in front of them, kind of the meat between the sandwich here of Team Sheesh. So Lazarus in a pretty tough spot. But they don't have to do too much here. They can just poke over these icicles, do a little bit of damage as the EMP now comes through, and that's going to be doing the damage to those shields.
We'll see if they continue to push off this or if this was just to buy some time. And you can see they're on the edge right now. It makes it so difficult to be in the open with a crypto team because of the fact that you have to find a safe place to go and use your drone. So that's why I felt like it was really important to just go and use that one while they have the opportunity, because G2's on the hunt, and G2 may force these two teams into one another and have an opportunity to third party with a portal.
Designed for with the scan as well. In Beast of the Hunt, it has 12 seconds left on that to have that increased movement speed and those scans available a little bit more often. Scan's going to come back though, and G2 now going to have a look for that portal like you mentioned. I do know there's a down in this building, and the question is Gentrify in position to maybe get that knock? Yes, he is. Can he get the finish? 2 players down in this building. The thermite will go down as well, as Gentrify will secure the knock onto Davis as well. Dank taken down, and that, I think, is going to be them eliminated. Lazarus as G2, the perfect third party, and once again reminding us how vital Wraith can be for those opportunities.
Things are starting to get a little bit more intense on the G2 side. Let's do another listen in and see what they have in store for us.
Going.
All right, go back in.
You gotta get through the board somehow.
Yeah, I'm in.
Very good.
I didn't find any light.
What you got? We're good up
130.
here. Yeah, I'll give you some. I'll give you a stack. Yeah. They're fighting down to the left over
watch
here.
our back.
Out to the left, it's Timmy.
Keep sending our back.
They traded, but I don't know where it was at.
This is in a pool for probably courtyard or something.
Yeah. We should have cleared out a prizes team. Timmy and them. Fuck.
Oh, were they?
They're like they're somewhere back here.
It's fucking pushing high ground. It's just annoying. Just wait till they push in. Just keep standing behind us, so I don't want to get ratted on.
Well, cool, calm, and composed is how I would describe things. Even with the action starting to pick up a little bit here, G2 just keeping the reins on that adrenaline, Tom.
They really are, and they're just super chill about the situation, which is fine, and that shows their confidence just in general. At the same time, they understand the threats. They understand that they need to take out certain teams, but I love that portal play. They pushed that team all the way down to the middle. That was Lazarus, I believe, and then they had to coexist inside of a building that just was an easy third party for them. Perfect timing on the portal, perfect execution, coming back when they needed to, and now Renegades gets knocked. It's gonna be dropped with the scout across the map.
We managed to get the res though, but they've burnt the bubble in doing so, and it was Space Station Gaming who were trying to do that damage and try and maybe think about closing the gap, but closing the gap not so easy with 15 squads still alive in this lobby, and oh my word, Renegades, they are having hell rain down on them at the moment. Another player knocked, and hey, if one defensive bombardment wasn't enough, have another one, and it's NRG looking to move in here and pick up these KP.
I think they're done for. It's just Vaxlon, I believe, and he's got a sliver of health. He's trying to armor swap. He finally gets it, but he's just got defensive bombardment, team on team looking at him, going for a saucer, somehow still alive. Honestly impressive that he even lasted this long. But we talked about that bridge ending, and it's there. The bridge is there. It's in the next zone, and it's most likely ending very close to where Vaxlon is.
Well, the crazy thing is, if Vaxlon stays alive for another minute or so here, somehow just manages to sweat it out and manages to not give his life away, then they might be able to pick up some placement points, as 15 squads will go down very, very quickly as the teams have to move from the east side of Fragment. All those teams we were talking about before who are stacked up on top of each other, they'll have to move through each other. That would take 3 or 4 teams out, possibly 5 or 6, and even though there's one player alive, it really can change a game for them, as NRG still inside of this broken building. They're going to be feeling very, very confident about this end zone now, Tom.
You say placement points, I say go for the res. That's what a real OG would do. I'm just kidding. There's no chance he could pull that one off. NRG added too much pressure, as the rest of the map is too. Sweet's going to go and Q radon onto there. You can see over that third-person camera where exactly all these teams are. That broken building, like you said, is so tough to hold for this long, but they've done a great job. However, running out of resources. Only 5 cells there for Rocker. Gonna have to use one of those to get that armor back up too. So we'll see how they fare later on.
Well, the thing for Vaxlon here is he's a problem for NRG. They have to clean him out at some point, because even a few shots, as you say, that broken building's so difficult to hold. But if they can clear that side of the map, it denies all of the lines of sight, and they can just focus on market and the teams that might be making a late dash towards that bridge. So even though Vaxlon is still alive and it's only a solo player, it's still a problem for NRG. So you can see why Sweet was being so aggressive on trying to finish off that kill, as now they have to turn their attention to SSG, who are in market at the moment.
Low on ammo, low on cells. That's the problem with holding this broken building. You have to add so much pressure elsewhere, and you take so much pressure that it just kills your resources. Space Station Gaming in a pretty good spot. The outside of this fence, surprisingly, is going to be a decent position, because we talk about so often about keeping the action in front of you, and it does pull directly onto the bridge. Mark coming through with the prediction after seeing the first zone.
Hey, look at me. IGL, get me in, sign me up. I'm available, is all I'm going to say, Tom. All right?
Sweet, get out of here. On set, you're in.
Who's Sweet? Anyway, let's talk about the game. Space Station Gaming still looking very, very good. I'm sorry, Sweet, please don't come for me. Fans of NRG, please don't come for me. I'm a nice guy, really. Space Station still looking to take out this rat, and I don't know if Vaxlon has actually been eliminated. I haven't been able to track that in the kill feed as such, but you can see in the kill feed that Esports Arena just lost one. Velhurst went down. Missile Swarm going to go in here, as 12 squads now find ourselves alive on World's Edge. Only 69 damage here for Zanayo as well, which means that he's going to have a lot of work to do to get that Evo shield leveled up. Now you can see nobody wants to move here. Nobody wants to poke, because with 12 teams alive, you throw one shoulder out, Tom, and all of a sudden that shoulder gets removed.
If you poke, that means that you're going to get just lit up, but also nobody wants to use the resources immediately. No one wants to use the utility. You have to hold on to your bubble to the very end, because it's all defensive bombardments from here. It's all Nox gas grenades. You don't know if there's going to be EMPs involved. Bloodhound scans are going to come left and right. Some teams are going to be trying to Valkyrie ult for the top of the bridge, and it's already happening. XSAT's going to be the first team to Valkyrie all out.
Well, let's see how this works out for them. This is always one of those plays that you kind of have to have a little bit of luck on your side. You have to land somewhere that isn't taken, and you don't find that information out until you land. And for Kenny, it might be landing in a rough spot at the moment, but he's managed to land, as now we're going to jump on board with Risotto, who makes XSET pay. All of a sudden, this is the G2 we've been looking forward to seeing, and this is the G2 that we expect to see.
No doubt about it. They've been big chilling the entire time, taking some angles, 3x across the map. All hell breaking loose now as G2's just sitting there and doing the perfect gatekeep, but Designful somehow overextends. They're not in position to go for the bubble quite yet, and that's going to be defensive bombardment possibly being used to get him back up. Gold bag is there, so it's a nice recovery, but that stops the slaughter from G2 side just a little bit.
Space Station gonna have to be careful as well. They're playing this outer ledge where NRG have been residing. Team Sheesh now moving their way in as well, and they're onto this bridge, and this is one of the best positions to hold. If you can hold it down, the Skynade's gonna come in from Timmy. The EMP's going off in the distance. One Skynade exchange for another, but that battery could be huge, but an Arcstar in front of them. Team Sheesh just doing anything they can to desperately survive for now. Nicewig is about 2 HP, maybe even 1, but the caustic gas is keeping them alive as Timmy will fall when a Price is the last man standing.
Ronnie ratting it out right now, staying alive down below, is going to get the knock onto Timmy, and that is so important because Nicewig still has to heal, a Prize has to heal, and there it is. Ronnie finally gets dropped, but at what cost now as they have to get Timmy back in? There's another team pushing. Hello! Look over towards your left. The Prize is there with the L-Star. What a monster. CLG is going to answer with another third party, though. Where is G2? Have they stayed alive throughout all this? Noble is there. Energy is there. Space Station as well.
Well, it looks like they are still alive if you follow our team tracker, and yes, there they are, just sneaking into the corner of your vision. And I mean, what a collection of teams we have alive in our final moments here. Noble, they're just playing the outside of this bridge, and if they can go undetected for a few moments here, they might be able to jump up late and really cause some problems. G2, they're going to be in a similar position, but they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be moving first here. This is going to be a tough move now as G2 do make that move. The portal comes in. We have G2, we have Space Station, and we have NRG, all neighbors at the moment, but nobody wants to look over the fence because there's a naughty looking dog who wants to bite.
That's why you have to have such a strong, confident Wraith on your team. Gentrifying finds the right spot for the portal. There's not much place to go here, Mark. You can see this is literally the best spot to be playing right now. Designful overextends again just a little bit. Bubble's gonna get used. That could mean a full send over towards the side, but they don't want to risk it. There's going to be a gold bag in hand still, and they're looking for more ammo, more resources. They're running low on basically everything. And now that they know the other team's not going to push towards the other side of this wall, this is much safer for them to move forward. Another big move from Gentrify.
Amazing stuff from G2, but you have to say they were helped out in that situation with the knock being in vicinity of 2 people, or 2 teams, I should say. You didn't want to push, however, now the bubble is going to come in. Space Station Gaming are forced to move, and even though they pick up the kills here, G2, you have to wonder, is that the signal for NRG to move in? Are NRG going to try and take advantage as we're down to 3 now? CLG moving in as well, and NRG with just 2 players alive, but they have the height here.
They've been waiting for all the action to unfold. Gentrify is going to go down. CLG really helping out NRG basically at this point, as now NRG's finally going to make their play. They're looking for back-to-back, Mark. They may find it.
Rocker picks up 1, and NRG might go back-to-back here. It's a 2v1, and NRG, the 2-time here, back-to-back wins for NRG, and they played that one once again to perfection.
They waited as the duo. There was so much action going on. They kept track of it all. That is how you play Apex. NRG is putting on a clinic, and we've just getting started.
Amazing. Honestly, that is one of the hardest game-long holds, that building, in my opinion, that we have in Apex. You have so many angles that you can be shot from. So to hold it for the entirety of that game, and not only that, convert it into a win when you have G2 and you have Space Station on your back. I mean, you can't say enough about it, Tom.
The patience, the aggression at the right time, everything that you would love to see. CLG putting up some big points. G2 is going to take the most points overall throughout all of that, but you cannot deny the back-to-back wins right there, the patience, and then finally dropping down with the aggression, landing the shots, and doing it with just a duo. What a job from NRG.
A good job from CLG as well, who have kind of not performed so far in the first couple of weeks, but they're back here and they're putting in that performance to take second place. Space Station, like we saw, involved in that final 5 as well, and they pick up some decent points, but kills not going their way at the moment. It's all falling down to G2 and NRG, it would seem, in our first 2 games. But NRG, back-to-back, unbelievable, amazing. I don't want to take away from that, but G2, one fight is what changed things, Tom. We talked about it, that one fight where they just destroyed the team on the outside, Furia, and from then, it was all confidence.
Same with Sheesh as well. You can see that they actually had the fourth most points because they had 11 kills overall with their 3 placement points. But there it is. The damage wasn't there like it was in the first game, but the dub was there overall. 4 kills coming in from Nathan, 1,000 damage. That's what you love to see.
Yeah, great inventory management from them as well. Like you mentioned, so difficult to hold a spot for so long, especially when you're taking that chip damage. You know, all those resources are going to drain away, especially if you rotate as quickly as possible. But I mean, this is shaping up for an amazing final 4 games, Tom. It's going to be, I think this one's going to be a little bit special, to be honest with you.
They're going for the 3-peat. Let's see if they can do it. 46 points after 2 games. That's insane. We know what happens in that playoff format. Once you get to 50, you are 1 match away from being able to win and crown yourself a champion. But this is the playoffs. This isn't the playoffs. This is just leading up to the big tournaments, and they're coming up huge, and they're swinging like it's for $1 billion jillion every single game.
It's almost as if after week 1, where they flattered to deceive a little bit, I mean, they went, just a reminder, everyone, this is NRG. This is Rock and Nathan and Sweet. Week 2, they come storming back, and then week 3, they've said, hey, that's not even our final form. We're stepping it up once again. And the question going into our next game is, can NRG get the 3-peat?
We'll find out. They're probably going to just hop in the Capsule Corp and just, you know, get together and make sure that they're re-energized going forward. But you have other people that are trying to stop them. You have G2, you have Team Sheesh. There's a lot of talented teams in this lobby.
It certainly is. Well, it's time for us to take a break before we get into our next game. And the question will hang over that break. Can NRG go back to back to back?
Lenovo Legion. Gaming PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back for game 3. I said game 3 after game 1, but it's actually game 3 now, which is good.
Honestly,
NRG.
Gaskin, T-Square, who cares about them? You were just foreshadowing us coming back for game 3. I respect it.
NRG with 2 in a row. The first time I believe we have seen that, for sure. We've seen a few teams win 2 out of 6, but with NRG slacking and somewhat lacking in the first 2 weeks we've had here, I think to win the first 2 games in a row is a great way to answer to the critics, if there are any, or to people who just want to see more from the team. It is a fantastic start, and hey, as they said before we threw to break, why not go back to back to back? They have found a way to find, even in an area such as that where that final ring was, they still had the high ground and they were just chilling and just waiting for the moment to capitalize and down those last players. Can they do it again?
Yeah, and you know, honestly, they haven't been looking too bad so far. They had a pretty slow start to week 1, not what we'd expect. Decent week number 2. They're right now in 8th place with 10 points in the overall Pro League, but this performance right now is putting them right back to where you expect them to be, which is absolutely dominant. And we've seen this before, right? ALGS Championship qualifiers, they were the most dominant team without a doubt. Showed up a little bit slower in ALGS Champs overall, but we know that they're capable of winning 3, 4, 5 games even in a 6-game series. So far, they got 2 down. Let's see if they can keep going.
Yeah, they are no strangers to success, winning almost $90,000 this year alone. So they're going to be comfortable in the driving seat for sure. But they definitely have maybe a record to set here if they can win this 3rd game. But there are plenty of points that are on the table, and there's no need to leave them there. 4 more games to go today, and NRG have definitely got plenty of points to gain. And we can see they've got almost double the points of 2nd place G2, who move up 8 spaces to 2nd.
Yeah, a massive game number 2 for G2. And again, the overall theme for G2 is they're playing the style of play that's in their DNA, that they came up with, which is aggressive, in your face, not afraid to take fights. They're back on Bloodhound, that same team composition that works so well for them for the last year of ALGS, and it's great to see. I mean, look how quick they were on the rotation from Thermal Station there. Worked all the way up, found some KP along the way, worked their way to Epicenter, and then found some good positioning, killed a team in Fragment West. 6 kills later, they end up getting 2nd place, and that's a massive performance from G2.
Yeah, I've got to give credit to Esports Arena as well. Verhulst in particular, in that fight we saw earlier on, he was cracked, downed 1 player in the dome, went outside the dome to heal, switched to the Prowler, cracked another player and downed him as well to finish off the team. The target priority and decision making in such a small period of time definitely gave them some strong KP in that example, and it was great to see as well. And that's why they're one of the reasons why they're such a highly rated team. The decision making there, when you're vulnerable, some people may have gone back to try and heal there, but he seizes the opportunity, takes the risk when necessary to secure some kills for his team.
That's right. Well, game 2 is behind us. We got game 3, and the drop ship is flying across World's Edge. Of course, we do have a new map coming, Apex Legends, in our new season, Escape. I'm excited for that. But of course, we're going to start things off with NRG dropping over in staging. And I want to keep an eye on a few teams this game, if possible, right? Ghost Gaming had a really, really solid game. Number 1 was in 2nd place with 17 points. They dropped Skyhook East, and they split that with PGG. So I want to see how Ghost plays this next ring. We'll see where the ring ends up pulling. Looks like it's a Southern ring. Again, a favorable ring for NRG, a favorable ring for G2. Those are the 3 teams I want to keep a close eye on, of course, alongside SSG as we take a look at the overhead map here.
Yeah, we can see a big focus towards Thermal, which is going to be quite interesting indeed. A place with some cover, but again, if you're rotating over there, it's going to be pretty awkward because there's a lot of rock, and there may not be, we see these late rings with like 15 teams up, and that's going to be a very hard place to coexist with all these teams.
Yeah, and this is a near identical ring from game number 1. It's pulling just slightly more south. So if anything, that's going to help G2. That's going to help Renegades on the rotation. It's going to help 100 Thieves on their rotation, as they should be able to get some good real estate. Guess what's going to happen for G2 here? They're going to go to their same exact spot. Watchtower in Thermal Station, they'll post up. But what's different about G2 and how they're playing that on these southern Thermal Station zones, rather than just turtling up in the Watchtower, they're having their Wraith absolutely fly around, find intel, find kills. They're dropping their Bloodhound for scans. They're trying to find kills. G2 is playing this a lot more aggressive overall, and that's paying off for them here, especially with these southern zones.
Yeah, and we saw Legacy MX are starting to drop in the dome, which often we don't see a team start there. Sometimes the team will spread there. Legacy certainly had a lot of trouble in that first game, and maybe they're finding more comfort in dome, knowing that they won't be contested immediately. So we'll see how things play out for them. Rotation is still going to be a side quest, if you will, because they're going to have to go through a lot of teams. You can see NRG making their way to blue armor pretty quickly. Again, Sweet has had some standout performances already today, and we are still in the early stages.
Yeah, and I'm interested to understand where exactly we're going to see these teams position on their rotations. Again, this is pulling slightly more south, so you might see SSG take that same west choke. I think they will, but it might not pay off for them necessarily. Meanwhile, NRG finds themselves near a team. Quick rotation over to Thermal. Do they take this fight early enough to avoid a third party, or do they decide to rotate? Hopefully we can jump into a listen with NRG to verify, but it's going to be good to hear how they decide to play this.
Yeah, and with all the teams coming in this direction, I wonder how long they try to hold this high ground for. As you can see, the rotations coming through already, and that 30-30 really hurts when it lands.
That's right. Rocker.
Okay, I think we need to...
Yep, no shields right now. Going to just heal up just with some shield cells. Looks like no shield batteries in the hands of NRG as it currently stands. We'll see if they decide to play for aggression, because if they get these kills, they can loot up. They need some loot right now, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and jump into a listen in with NRG real quick, see how they play this.
Let's go, boys. Manufacture points. Good shit. Fucking first 2 games. Are we like in the lead by a lot?
Yeah, we're in 25 points ahead of second place.
Nice. Who's in second?
G2.
Flying not onto us, I don't think. They have pass. Bang!
32. 32 flash. Don't even know who.
54.
Oh my god.
I can't even like see.
Yeah, I have an iron sight bow.
Another team, same thing. Same thing.
You have a bow?
Yeah, an iron sight bow. I told you.
You have a bow? Oh my god.
Yeah, I got a bow. It was either a bow or a fucking Re-45. If I had a sight.
Yeah, he's got a bow. Oh man, it's holding it down right now. Watch what he does with the bow check, though. Keep an eye. Take notes, my friends.
Even if I don't have a weapon, I won't pick it up. I'm not even saying anything about the bow check. It's more about myself. Like, I just, you know, like personally, I'm notorious for awful highlights. My highlights are low lights, and I don't need one with a bow. Just don't need to add that to my repertoire.
Yeah, I don't blame you. My favorite was the way he said it, you know, with such confidence. Yeah, I got a bow, you know. We'll see what Nathan can do with it. We'll see how soon he drops that bow, given he just got roasted by his teammates. But let's switch on over away from NRG here. Looks like they are secure in, I wouldn't even say this is necessarily a choke point, kind of a mini choke point between the east and west side of Northern Thermal Station. I'd love to take a look at some other teams, right? Ghost Gaming, how are they playing it? Are they deciding to play with aggression? We saw Furia find a few kills as well on their rotate. Furia needs a really big game 3. They've gotten wiped out clean in games 1 and 2. They found 3 kill points already. And typically you do see Furia kind of go to Skyhook. That's what they did last time. Looks like this time, instead of really slow playing it and playing for loot, they're playing for kills, which is wise because in game 3, they need to play aggressive. And they went back to Skyhook. They found a team, and I think they took out a team. It's actually Ghost or Benchwarmers. I'm guessing it's Ghost who drops in Skyhook. That is huge. And yes, it is. Panders. Wow, that's big.
Well, Ghost Gaming, that's not a good game for them to start off with. Out so early in game 3 is less than ideal, putting it mildly, but that might be a ton up for the events for Furia. We'll see if they can, how far they can go in this third game. No crypto on Furia today. Got tech on the Valk. You can see X-Sets are evoing the armor, that's going to change as well. I believe the crafting is going to give you more evoing to your armor, but it's going to cost slightly more as well.
I see. Furia decided to slow play it. Obviously, crafting is going to come through. And we'll take a look at the craft box now. Wise decision from X-Set just to get as much loot as possible for this late game. We'll keep a close eye on X-Set, who's been pretty quiet so far in games 1 and 2. I mean, this is the team that dominated last week. This is the team that's been doing really, really well in scrims. Right now, they are in 18th place with 2 points. That's it. So we'll see what X-Set can do. And both of those points came last game. As we switch on over to Premier GG. This is the other team that drops Skyhook, right, alongside Ghost Gaming. They decided to rotate early. They avoided that fight. They avoided that aggression from Furia, and now they find themselves on the northern side. They got to be careful, though, because there's teams like Space Station that are probably nearby.
So Rocker's the point man here. The other two, well, Sweet has empty armor for now because there's a crypto lurking around. But I think Sweet was the point man, and they had their armor dropped, and or maybe it was Rocker the entire time. But basically, the point man has the scout to keep teams away because there's going to be a traffic jam here eventually. And I think that to some degree, NRG are in a choke point of the traffic jam. But for now, they're keeping people away from their spot with the scout. That will burn as well if people get too close to it. And being the scout single fire, of course, those bullets will go a long way. And the other guys will just chill with their armor on the floor so they don't have to burn all their shield cells. So we'll see if things heat up with them later on, but it looks like a care package is coming down at the feet of Furia.
Yeah, back to that energy decision. There's not a whole lot's going to be happening here for Furia. They're just going to loot up on this care package and rotate. But back to that energy decision, not many teams would decide to hold that choke right there, right? Especially without a caustic. You don't really have a ton of defense. What energy does just is a testament to how confident they are and how willing they are to play in kind of uncomfortable positions, right? As we take a look here at Furia with the late Valk rotation. We'll see where they decide to position. Yeah, interesting to see what happens with NRG as they play that choke, and it will be a traffic jam, undoubtedly, as Furia decides to take this all the way over to Lava Siphon and the train tracks. Meanwhile, Esports Arena find themselves in a fight.
Just keeping an eye on things at the edge of the zone. They'll have a little forward moving to do. And the fences will do for now. I've got a pad for some extra movement. Let's see if they choose to go for an aggressive engagement.
Similar game to what we saw in game number 1. Obviously similar end zones, you'd expect it, but this is the game obviously where Esports Arena clumped and had themselves an early fight against 100 Thieves and a few others at that lower southern thermal station building. Meanwhile, ESA finds himself poking and prodding again. Will they decide to take this fight like they did last time? It looks like they want it, inching their way up. Here comes high ground. Here comes the push. Ultimate's going to come through with Caustic and doing damage. With that ultimate is Skittle Cakes. Great initiation from Skittle. The question is, can they finish?
Yeah, are they going to capitalize on this? Are they going to go for the full send? Esports Arena, they've got him out in the open now, and that caustic gas is all around that zone. We've got a defensive bombardment, and defensive would be the operating word here because they really need to fall back and try and heal, but Esports Arena are on the hunt, and now we've got another bombardment on the way. We've got players on the hands and knees, shield for some heal. And we've got a crypto drone coming in to actually break the shield there, which is going to cause some problems. We've got bats left and right, and I think we can have a listen in for ESA to see what's going on.
I don't know if we got any kills, did we?
We got one. I thought we got one, no. I didn't get one.
Oh. Why can't they just die to us? Why do they run?
I don't know why you pushed up or didn't push up for so long.
I was just holding you, and then I got beamed for a little bit, so I was selling up.
Where's the last body at?
I'm a bubble.
We don't even need it. There's only
he's right here. Left. He only has sniper ammo. He had literally nothing. Gold charge. They had absolutely nothing.
Bubbing the beacon right now, this team is.
I don't have long range, so I'm not shooting anything far away. I only have 114 energy.
Well, that is most unfortunate for Esports Arena. They pushed the team who ran away to die to somebody else, so they don't even get the KP after all that work. I think they cracked at least 2 of them. Defensive bombardments left and right. And that's very unfortunate for Esports Arena, but they're often very calm with their comms. I think some other teams would be going mad at having lost those opportunities, but they've got pretty cool heads on that team for the most part.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're going to check in with SSG. We saw them get 3 kills in the kill feed, and as a result, they're able to take a pretty good spot. Notice how they play this, right? They play that same far west choke just to the northwest of them, held that, found an opportunity to ape a team in this location, kind of the sole building to the northwest of Thermal Station, took over that spot, and now find themselves in a great position for this southern west zone, especially with Caustic, well positioned. I'd love to check in with NRG and see if NRG is right in that choke still, right to the east of them, because that might be an interesting clash of the Titans here. NRG, the current dominant team, SSG, the previous dominant team, at least in weeks 1 and 2, nearby.
Yeah, this building will be good for the next zone as well. As we can see, they'll have less concern about their back. But there'll still be some concern, and people can always exist on the outside.
Yeah, and take a look. NRG is still in the same position. James, you said a traffic jam is going to ensue, and you were spot on. Look at how this ring is pulling. SSG will have to rotate, likely right into the hands of NRG at this choke. The question is, do they have the intel? Do they know that NRG is there waiting for a fight or not? If they do, likely they'll maybe try to push a little more southern, but if they go south, they're going to run into the likes of ESA, of G2, of so many teams that are down in thermal stations. So I think it's inevitable we're going to see an NRG and space station clash here.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see that bow during that clash, or maybe he'll switch out for the RE45. But that is a very handy replicator land for some Evo. Also good for some extra cover as well, to get some extra bow angles.
I think we saw a Kraber in the hands of either Sweet or Rocker as well. It's going to be Sweet with the Kraber.
Whoa!
And misses the shot that likely would have knocked the Gibraltar right there. Gibby will heal back up, but the bow's connecting. My man Nathan putting in work with the bow check.
Can't imagine the comms right now. Missed the shot with the Kraber, but the bow, yeah, I got a bow, and that's going to be enough. But hey, if it was a down in the lava, that could have been very, very interesting indeed. So we'll see if they're able to make a rescue. 15 squads up at present, but that ring will continue to get smaller. 20 seconds away from surely more teams falling as the space to work with becomes smaller and smaller. But NRG have clearly done a good job keeping players away with the bows. Somehow got 62 bows remaining with it, and also the scouts, of course. And there's more bow action. Did he force the dome with a bow?
Imagine if he did. If you don't connect for a shot, likely you just hear a little whisper whiz by your ear, and you're not going to get too nervous. Meanwhile, the Kraber might do the trick. SSG, here we go. This is why Caustic in this location is so good. A team's trying to actually ape them, and it's Sweet trying to line up a shot here perfectly. Headshot opportunity for Sweet. Decides not to take it. Holding on to that precious Kraber ammo for a late game. Probably a wise decision, but he might use it to try and thirst a downed player. Nathan's going to get tagged up a bit here, but I love this game so far. G2 finds himself in a fight thermal station. I love this setup, James, and the fact that we are going to be well positioned for a crazy late game because we've got NRG, G2, and space station all within a distance.
We've got the Wraith Portal coming out once again, although Gent needs to maybe find or at least a shield swap to get out of here if he needs to. But again, we know that G2 love their skirmishes, and they choose them wisely. They find some serious high ground and then get their portal up and come in to cause as many problems as possible at their will. See how that continues as the Kraber still looks for more. Oh, that's a big frag. Lucas, goodbye.
Nice job from Sweet applying pressure with the Kraber. G2 in a really tough position here, so we'll see how G2 plays this over in thermal with so many teams nearby. It looked like they were doing well. Good shield swap came in. NRG is just sitting on top of the perch right now like D-Day, waiting for the opponents to work their way up. This is a great position and wise decision here from NRG to choose this choke early and recognize where this ring's going to be pulling. Meanwhile, G2 is just sitting pretty on top of their arch still.
Yeah, and they're making it really hard for players to find somewhere to settle. But Esports Arena are in some trouble. We've got caustic gas all over the place as it looks like someone's trying to invade their building. Maybe they're downstairs. They seem to stabilize for the time being. And yeah, SSG are trying to force their way in, and G2 have got some issues at the same time. They were up high a bit earlier on, but now they've made their way downstairs and trying to chase a Valk away, but they're being shot from other people as well. We've got players all over the place. These shotguns have to be ready, but down goes Gent, and designed for the Resulter. I've got to try and find a way to stabilize here. They can't be outside for too long because they're going to be shot from all kinds of directions, but how can they go inside? They're being harassed and cracked as well. Nice shots with the wingman, and maybe there's a chance to get some more shields up. Resulter up close as well, just trying to heal, hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, both of them were down to about 20 or less HP, finally able to heal back up. That's going to be an interesting fight. We'll keep a close eye on that kill feed. Looks like Designful's finally going to be finished. G2 in I think it's a 2v2 fight down there. Meanwhile, NRG and Nathan's going to connect with another shot, and they're going to do a good job deciding to hold this high ground, so they got to stand strong, stand tall. And it's a fuse, so I think that's Furia nearby. Nathan going with the Arcstar, hitting a couple bows, not able to get a knock just yet.
Oh, well, that bow has run out of luck, and maybe their dome will be forced if it hasn't been already. But that's a fantastic Kraber shot, which maybe slows down the push. Just keeping an eye on things up top, and that fuse Q is going to cause so many problems. Having to pop the bat now. Thermite to create some space for the team, but the dome has gone. Nathan's down, and now it's just down to Sweet one versus many, and it's not going to work out for them, I don't think. Yeah, he's a goner as well. That's goodbye, NRG.
Yeah, it's actually going to be Sheesh with a third party. So that was Furia, Sheesh, and NRG in that fight. And remaining, you see the list of teams on the right side here. G2 did get taken out during all of that as well. Furia now fighting for the same position. We know it's against Sheesh. Whoever can control this choke will likely be in a great spot to win this game. So this fight is massive.
Yeah, it really is. And just have a look at how small that ring is going to get soon. Nice Wig is trying to hold on as we've got many players above, many players around the corner. I don't know how long he survives here as that caustic gas has gone now and he's in all kinds of trouble. Esports Arena still fighting, still up. He's holding angles. The prize has gone. Nice Wig has gone, and that might be all of Sheesh out of the picture for now. 6 squads remaining. Esports Arena still doing well, still in some position, trying to find some cover behind these boxes as bombardments come through. They're just trying to spot all the players, avoiding the Arc Stars as well. We have to keep an eye on them as we have some close action now, some tapping at close range with the scout and a massive cinder hole. Cracks 2 of them, but will they pursue?
Yeah, this is like the Revolutionary War here as we have 2 separate battles. The battle for Thermal Station, the battle for the hill. Well, we'll see who can win each battle and ultimately win the war. SSG dropped, gonna knock 1. Great job from him. Meanwhile, ESA, wide right flank connects. Renegades is out and down currently, finally gonna be eliminated from this lobby. So, the battle for Thermal Station, won by ESA, but they do still have the likes of Space Station nearby, and Furia trying to win their battle for the hill.
Yeah, there's some cover for now down below, but once that ring is closed, will they have any angles to hide away from this high ground? You see Furia still trying to control it, but they are going to be contested soon, it looks like. Just seconds away from that ring starting to close. And they have to win this fight. Again, that is their biggest threat, but we have the Valcult now, but where are you going to land? They'll at least get the information as they circle, and you can't try to focus them too much. Well, Furia can, but everybody else needs to think about the other people who are around them. So they're going to land out of bounds for now, but eventually they're going to have to drop, and Furia will have to deal with this, but Space Station will contribute as well.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of a desperate Valkyrie ult and an opportunity to try and fight Furia for high ground, but it's going to be that Tech and Furia all over it, recognizing it's coming, and that desperation Valk ult did not pay off. We keep seeing failed Valk ults, and that's why we see Valk continue to kind of fall down in the overall meta. Not as strong as Valk once was, which I think a lot of players are happy about. Meanwhile, we got 4 squads left. Space Station, ESA, Furia on high ground. Space Station needs to be cautious because they have ESA to their right.
Yeah, and Furia may be able to just focus on stopping players coming up and let them kill each other and then finish off the last player, because again, these teams are going to be pressured by each other quite a lot now. The Space Station have got some space to work with for the time being, but when that ring starts to close, they're going to have harsher angles. Do we have where are Esports Arena at the moment? We still have some cues going the way. Oh, that's a lovely Kraber shot, and that's going to slow down the push again as we can see them. It looks like they're trying to round the hill as they know their cover will soon be gone, and Fury will try to control that space with all the grenades in the world.
We don't see a whole lot of Fuse in competitive Apex, but look at the impact, right? We saw NRG get pressured by the Knuckle Buster earlier, and now it's happening again. Hakulo putting in work with Fuse. Meanwhile, on board now with Zera. And of course, back to Space Station when we have a sec. Space Station very low in ammo. Not a whole lot of heavy ammo as they were splitting. They're kind of desperate, so it's not a great situation for Space Station Gaming. I got to say, advantage Furia because the zone's pulling to them as well.
Yeah, that Fuse Q, man. Give him the gold helmet if there is one, because that's going to cause so many problems. It's going to shred so many shields, and it just slows down any intended push. And when the ring starts to move as well, that can make things very, very awkward if you've got low cover. There are still grenades, still Arc Stars going in that direction. That is the worst place to be, I feel like, right now. All kinds of harassment. Better file a report to the police.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen the Ring of Fire and Knucklebuster come through for Hakulo and the impact it's made. 4 squads still remain in this one. It is a standoff. But again, look at the top left of your screen. You'll see the ring is going to be pulling up to that choke point exactly where Furia is, I believe. So kudos to NRG for predicting the right end game. Unfortunately, couldn't hold on as Furia knocked them off their throne. But SSG is going to decide to play low ground here. They're going to slowly inch their way in. Furia on the high ground. ESA alive, and one other team as well. Not sure who it is and if it's a rat.
And that queue is also information just to see if anybody's in that area. If you don't have a scan, you can use the queue as a scan if the area is small enough. And we see people running for dear life, trying to push through the dome now. And Furia will have a dome up as well, trying to shoot the traps before they can get. And the queue again, is this going to stop? You can't even leave the dome unless you want to get queued. Up close now to shotgun. Space Station trying to do what they can. The Rampage coming through, and off they go. Esports Arena alive for the time being, but Furia are abusing from the high ground, dropping down though. to capitalize on a situation and clean up the mess downstairs, bleaching the floor, but who's going to take the final kill? Two of Furia still up, and now it's just down to Tech, and Furia will, of course, be the champion, dropping down from the high ground, abusing position, and taking the W.
What a game from Furia. We came into this broadcast saying it is a must-perform week 3 for this Furia roster, and here we are in game 3. Do or die, because they're way behind on leaderboards, and they perform. And James, the way that they did it from beginning to end, they take out Ghost Gaming with the quick rotation over to Skyhook, get 3 KP. Then they rotate their way into Fragment East, late rotation with the Valkyrie ult, textbook Valkyrie play, find themselves in a great position to continue to rotate in right to the right of Lava Siphon, ultimately take the throne from NRG, the high ground, and the best position to win the game with that choke, and they do it in style with 14 kills, a massive performance from Big Brain Tech and the Furia squad.
That was really, really awesome from them, and I'm sure they'll be bragging about it on Twitter, but let's see what they can do with the remaining games before they get there. A deep run from Esports Arena. We had eyes on them, and they will come into second place again. Just couldn't get that upper position. Some teams were fighting for it, but Furia had so many boxes, death boxes up there to pick up. The Valk Q, the Fuse Q, Arc Stars for days, grenades for days, thermites for days, and defensive ult from Jibby as well. So it was really hard to get anywhere close to that high ground.
Yeah, Space Station, again, 4th, 5th, 6th place. They've just been lurking in that kind of middle of the pack, but they're not necessarily putting up enough points. I mean, I haven't seen them drop double digits yet, so as a result, they're not in the top 5. You know, Space Station's quieting down a little bit here in week 3, still doing a good job playing consistent, playing their style of play, which of course is rotate fast, rotate early, but not getting the kills or the first place finishes that work so well for them in weeks 1 and 2. Meanwhile, look at Furia, look at the damage done for Hakulo, again on Fuse, with the Ring of Fire and Knuckle Buster, putting in absolute work with this legend and his utility.
Yeah, defensive bombardment definitely going to be really useful towards the end. But late game Fuse, I think, is underrated because it just shreds. People are trying to push, and you're keeping their shields down. They can't go for you want to have your shields high when you're going for a push, but it's really slowing players down, especially when you have that map control. So love to see a Fuse, a successful one as well, used in the right way with the right composition, and maybe that's something that other teams will look at as well. But that damage was absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure that Q button was pressed a hell of a lot of times as well.
Well, let's go ahead and bring back Kate to the desk because we've seen some fun things here 3 games in, energy domination, and a little bit of Fuse. Kate, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling delighted to see a Fuse in this lobby. I'm always a fan of throwing a wrench into an otherwise pretty similar team comp strategy for people. But let me ask this question, because I want to kind of harken us back to some of these clean wipes that we've seen. It's sort of the lobby that has helped create them. Like we're talking when G2 did it earlier, Esports Arena. I'm curious, Fallout, let's start with you. Is the clean wipe, that concept, is that unusual for a lobby of this caliber? And, you know, what do you think about that particular element to today's gameplay?
No, not unusual. I mean, you see those team wipes, those early fights happen often for teams like G2 that likes to take fights, teams like Ghost Gaming, teams like Furia. If you can get a pound-for-pound straight from team 3 versus 3 without risk of a third party, you're going to take that every single day, especially if you're a controller-oriented team that likes to frag out.
Yes, exactly. We've got quite a, and definitely the lobby here, as scary as Tom T Square Taylor would say it is. James, we take a look. Obviously, Ghost Gaming, Esports Arena putting in work here in game number 1.
Yeah, Esports Arena actually getting a team wipe on Furia in this game, as we saw in the replay there. And they are really exceptional to watch in very high pressure situations because they keep a steady head. They have great decision making. Let's not forget in that game where they team wiped Furia on the inside, they were on the outside, sharing basically a bulbous structure with Exet on the other side, and managed to coexist despite the pushing, despite the pressure, despite players getting down. So they're an excellent example of keeping steady heads and just having premium decision making in very difficult times.
I like that phrase, James. Premium decision-making, for sure. One of the things I do want to bring up, as you actually had mentioned earlier, I probably should have started with this, which was, let's talk about the impact that Furia's Fuse. I mean, obviously, they are our Game 3 winners here. They obviously Fuse had an impact. Talk to me a little bit, Fallout, let's start with you, about, you know, what that Fuse choice had in this lobby, both early and late game, because as we can see, it did make an impact.
Yeah, we've seen a few teams represent and play Fuse. We haven't really seen the whole potential, and finally in Game 3 we did, right? The ability for Fuse to put on pressure, to poke with his utility, with the Knuckle Buster on high ground against NRG, and of course the Ring of Fire to obviously force their hand and force positioning worked out so well, and that is why they're able to beat NRG in that fight, plus a third party obviously came through from Siege, and that is why Fury won this game, I mean, simply put. So huge impact in Game 3. We'll see that in the replay once we get to Game 3, but of course Game 2 was all NRG, Kate. They are playing so well, and they positioned themselves even in a great spot to win Game 3 as well. They could have gone back to back to back.
Yeah, it could have indeed. I mean, this is certainly we've seen NRG do, as I would like to say from Fallout's words, NRG things. Let's real quick ask this question, James, and it's going to be maybe the most tough one you'll answer all day. Ooh. Who is the team you'd hate to face most in this lobby based on the performances we're seeing in games 1 through 3?
As annoying as Fuse is, it has to be NRG. You can see the confidence. They won the first 2 games, and they're looking extremely dangerous. We see it. Even with the bow, people are getting down. They got a bow, dude. Like, it doesn't matter what the weapon is, they're going to cause you some serious problems. But I have to give an asterisk to the Fuse, because we see quite often you can hide behind a small structure for a while in these small rings, but when there's a Fuse there, it's not hard to aim just to the side of that and just shred your shields constantly. I think the only question is, what do you sacrifice by picking Fuse, and how do you get the best composition to make him work?
Same question, Fallout.
NRG, not even a question. They're playing so well. I think the leaderboards and the standings show that. They're winning every fight. They're on point. They're shot calling. They're positioning. I mean, they're playing a near perfect game. They were so well positioned there, and perhaps a bow check away. No, I'm just kidding. But perhaps a couple of fights and a couple of kills away from winning that game as well, as NRG on top with 50.
Well, and you know, James, we're looking at this. I love what Tom mentioned earlier, and I think game number 2, which was, remember for our playoffs, for those finals, we usually find ourselves in a match point system. That match point number is 50. So if this was, in fact, one of those games, then after game 3, NRG's already made it to match point.
Yeah, and that's a great achievement for the future. So that's definitely something to be proud of. But also, you know, double 50 is 100, if my maths is correct, Kate. And let's not forget that Cloud9 came very close to that in one day. I think they got to, was it 93 or 97 points?
Oh, yes,
and I would like to
right.
see if NRG can break 100.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fallout, let's take a look at number 4, because that is, I don't know if I've ever seen a jump that extreme before on one of these leaderboards.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive jump for Furia, and of course, led by Big Brain Tech himself, aerospace engineer at MIT, and I'm just going to say it, the Elon Musk of Apex, except not as rich. This man is obviously one of the most eccentric individuals we have, outspoken individuals we have on Twitter, and they actually did announce recently that they have an analyst that they just picked up. Didn't say which analyst, leaves us obviously in the dark there a little bit, but perhaps the new analyst paying off. That was a really, really pristine rotation, courtesy of Tech calling that one. I really liked what I saw from Fury right there, but the question is, again, I say it often, but consistency. We see them up and down. We see them get taken on early game fights. We see them try to take 3v3s early and sometimes not come out on top, and that's what's cost them.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about consistency, specifically our social handles, because we like you to consistently follow us. That segue almost worked in my head. But anyway, head on over to Twitter at PlayApexEsports, at PlayApexEsports on YouTube, and of course, at PlayApex on Twitch. Come and join us. You might be joining us already, in which case I say thank you so much indeed. But guess what? As we mentioned, we have just begun this Dog and Pony show. We're only 3 games in. Game number 4 comes on to us right after this.
for NRG in games 1 and 2. It was Furia who took home game number 3. Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Pro League North America. T-Squared alongside myself on set, and Furia bringing Fuse to the party, Tom.
Yeah, and if NRG didn't get pinched from both sides, which is what happens when you hold that for so long, NRG's taken these high-risk, high-reward spaces, whether that's that broken building over towards the bridge side on Fragment West when they're trying to win that game, or they're going for the high ground over towards this thermal station zone. And one of the things that's kind of disappointing for me as we hop over to a team that lands over towards thermal station is a team that I was looking for and rooting for today, and that was G2. And G2's had 2 thermal station zones, and their best game was the game that was over towards Fragment. So that for them has to not feel good, and they're going to be looking to bounce back again here. But NRG, again, if they didn't get pinched, they're looking at 3 in a row right there. You love the way that Tech played that one. You love the way that everyone played aggressive, but Tech stayed alive, and he was the only player alive basically at the end of the game because he was the only one inside the actual zone.
Well, it's a big performance from Furia, but now we look ahead to our next game. We'll jump in to the points of view of Furia to start off with to see where they're going to be looting up, and it's good from Furia. We've recently picked up by the organization. It was a big deal for these guys. Obviously, Furia, a huge organization to bring into the ALGS, and with that comes the added pressure, Tom. As soon as you sign to a big org, you put that name in front of yours, you feel that you need to perform in these big tournaments.
Yeah, and we've seen different rosters between Hakulo and Zeratricky. They've been a duo for quite some time. They used to play with Mercy only. They've had a handful of different teammates as we take a look at the zone here. Definitely favoring over towards this Geyser side, but it could bounce right back on over towards No Name. That beacon building over towards No Name is going to be extremely valuable. Noble's going to love what they see. Look at that. They're already inside the Vault Cave. Rakinishu's looting over towards the back of Geyser. Lucas is owning a lot of this area over across from Lava Siphon as well. That's a lot of loot. You got to have credit to this team for splitting up like that. Meanwhile, Forcey's going to be hitting the beacon on that building that we were talking about, and he's going to love what he sees.
Yeah, yet another unpredictable zone, we'll have to say. Maybe it's going to pull down to where 100 Thieves, previously bottom 20, did manage to win the ALGS Championship in that open ground between Fragment East and the settlement just to the north of Lava Siphon. We'll have to see how it plays out when we get that third beacon potentially, but it's going to be an interesting one for sure. I wonder if teams are going to set up in that choke early, if it's going to be the most northern building on the little high ridge settlement, or if it's going to be someone moving in late and, like you say, playing that beacon building, excuse me, as I remember to put my teeth back in. But Lazarus now looking pretty good on the armors, looking pretty good on the HP as they make their way towards zone, but it's going to be a long rotation for them. They're going to have to make their way up this balloon and probably just do a little bit of scouting first.
Yeah, the good thing is you get the balloon and then you're going to get that redeploy too, so you're going to get right back into this one. G7 Scout with a 3x is a pretty solid overall, so you're going to be feeling pretty good about that one too. Rocking the crypto, you're going to try to get somewhere where you can get a big scan going into zone number 3. I would love to see them try to get over towards No Name, and that's where the pings are going down. So 1 minute and 30 seconds is that typical time. That's 1 minute and 20 seconds. A little late there for Lazarus, but the good thing is the zone is not that far away from him.
Now, with the zone coming up as it is, and with the beacon information the teams have got, Tom, do you think that this is going to be a zone where people realize there's not a huge amount of room to coexist here? Do you think we'll see a few teams maybe change up the way they want to approach this game? Maybe a few more teams looking to creep in from the edge of zone?
Yeah, if you're creeping at the edge of zone, you have to do exactly what G2 does as well, because that's the masterful play. You go at the very last second, and then you slowly start to creep up in there, and you cannot have a team come in behind you. And that's what happened in game number 2, where Fury got caught just basically out of bounds, right? Fish out of water, caught him. Sharks are eating the minnows at that point. So a really nice play from G2 in that. 100 Thieves, they're trying to set up over here, Lava Siphon style. They are rocking that typical composition that we've seen in the past. And I think that they would like to have a little bit better armor here and a little bit better position. This is going to be a tough situation for 100 Thieves.
Well, they've got one armor spare, but it's, again, not the color that they're looking for at this point. Vane's going to be able to pop a ping down onto that blue armor, which is going to give them a little bit more HP to work with. And Scurry's going to use the little boost that you get from the gondola to get across a little bit quicker. And hey, things are looking up. There's a change of clothes for everybody to match and in full uniform for 100 Thieves now. Blues across the board, as now they're going to take the next gondola across and try and get a little bit closer to that zone.
How much are they charging for this gondola for these upgrades? Usually that's going to cost you some crafting materials or something along those lines, but that was absolutely free there for 100 Thieves. They are in right there, so they're going to be A-okay, but Furia, we saw this before. When they're playing edge, they're absolutely playing edge here. They may even wait for some later scans, try to get more information. There's really no reason, once you're this far out on the edge, to push further in, because you are going to get sandwiched. So I like this play. Meanwhile, we do have some knocks on your screen. in the kill feed. Exile is going to get one, but doesn't look like the flush is coming in quite yet. NRG finally makes their play. It looks like they get in over towards not the best position quite yet, so we'll see what they do. I mean, yes, they are close towards Geyser, but that's the building they really want there, Mark.
Yeah, I think Hill House building is going to be very, very popular with a lot of teams. A lot of teams wanting to set up in there, but for now, they're going to take the most northern building, which if they do get that pull towards Fragment, then they'll be in a good position to hold all of these teams out, rotating from the southern side of World's Edge. But for now, NRG, once again, making their way to a pretty good position early on here, Tom. I think they're going to be pretty comfortable for the next few minutes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is going to be a pretty slow situation here for NRG. Yes, they're in a position where they could pick up some kills, but they're not in a position where they can take any main fights without getting third-partied, right? Because you have 100 Thieves over there. Yes, that is just one. Oh, that's actually all players 100 Thieves scooting in towards that building. But yeah, there's nothing that you can do right now if you're NRG except armor check, continue to try to build up your Evo shield, and wait for something crazy to happen from another team's perspective. 100 Thieves is going to go take this building happily as the other team starts to rotate in.
One team has been eliminated so far, but still 19 squads remaining for now, as NRG are just going to be set up in this building for some time. I'd like to go over and watch some of these teams trying to play Edge a little bit more, to be honest with you. And I'm actually going to rename the way the Fury play it. It's not even Edge, is it? To be honest, they play Zone. And the wrong side of it. It's kind of like a complete and utter change, to be honest with you.
So they're the soft crust version of the
exactly.
ALGS,
They
basically.
are the hot cheese of ALGS. That's what Furia are. But now you're going to see the Skyward Dive. So they're making their way a little bit closer towards Zone, but as you would probably imagine, they're going to have a pretty clear path here. And they might even be able to get some beacon information on their way. So Fury are kind of just changing the approach. And I like that. I always love when Tech's on a team because I think he's one of those players who always tries to think out of the box about something that might work that nobody else has quite caught onto yet.
Definitely. And if you're playing Edge, you have to be worried about the other teams playing Edge. And we saw that in EMEA. We've already seen that today with G2 catching him out over towards the side. But the other team that plays the Edge are the Trials teams, right? Like Solo Q Goats is a team that does that in EMEA. Liquid's a team that does that here in North America. But when you don't have certain teams in the lobby and a lot of teams are playing Central, that's your opportunity to stay over towards the Edge. They do have to be wary of where that team from Thermal Station is coming. And that's why you're seeing some unorthodox rotations being called.
Well, here is Ghost Gaming. They're at Fissure Crossing at the moment, just trying to see if they can poke a little bit of damage on this team up in the middle of Epicenter on that spider-like structure. But it's going to be pretty difficult to hit some significant damage for here. Panda still needs 300 damage to get that Evo shield up to join his colleagues on purple armor. 16 isn't going to really do too much on its way towards that, but as we know, Tom, every little helps on your way towards those Evos.
Yeah, it's been a pretty slow game so far. I know that they're going to be playing Edge. Look at that composition that they're running with Octane, Gibraltar, and Bloodhound. Let's hop into a listen in with Ghost Gaming and hear what they're talking about.
I mean, look at it. I think it's just hard overload.
Okay. We'll know in literally just a second. I mean, it could be like no name as well, right? It's like a big, like there's nobody up here. It's probably no name. So we're just gonna vibe.
You wanna play from that side?
We're likely going to, yeah. We'll contest the side.
I'm gonna scrap loot real quick.
Okay.
A little bit of the clear.
Actually, that dude's on.
Oh, holy fuck! Look at Zone.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so we're probably gonna play for this outside then. We need to we could double back right now and come in from that tunnel. I think that's the move.
You want to rip balloon or what?
Maybe. We're playing low ground right now, which is really dangerous. We can hit balloon.
Oh fuck.
We gotta do it really fast though. Alright, if anything happens and we have an issue with them like looking over, we need to bob and pad and we'll go back to its clematizer and we'll take the fight from there.
Pop a syringe in real quick.
Where am I going? This way?
Regen. Yeah.
I know, I just didn't want to get beamed off zip. Please.
Yeah,
I'm running on the truth.
Yep, we're gonna try to work down Frag West and potentially play for that outside. I really want to win the fight for that choke.
I'm letting you lead because I don't know where the fuck we're going.
Yeah, it's fine. Remember that if things look really bad, we don't have to force the choke. We can play from Frag East and we can try to make a pressure play from there. We never have to like make a stupid fucking play here. They think we went the other way, so
yeah,
we should be vibing for this. I don't see anything on that side. Let's try to balloon into Frag West if we can. Once again, same shit. Things look bad. We're gonna bubble pad. Nobody's playing RV. There is somebody holding that choke. Nobody's playing RV.
Yeah. You want to land 5-story?
Yeah, we're going here.
Well, game plan coming in here from Ghost Gaming, Tom, and like you said, always good to listen to Six and the boys because it always seems like they've got a plan. They're always communicating. The small talk is on point.
Yeah, they have to have some sort of plan, right? There's plan A, there's plan B, and if stuff goes sour, then you need to make sure that you are going with that plan B, as we do see some knocks happening inside the village over here. Sweet finds one on Devatro. There's been some back and forth between the teams that are coexisting. Things could get spicy, and Era Eternity could pounce on the opportunity.
Yeah, I'd love to get a map overview. Hey, production on it. Amazing stuff from you, and it is going to be a pull kind of down towards where NRG are situated at the moment, the most northern building, so they're in a pretty good spot for now, but still that element of doubt, Tom. Still, is it going to pull back? Is it going to be one of those zone 4-5 pulls that pulls one way that nobody's expecting? And I think if you see the lay of the land at the moment with some teams rotating in still late from the north, I don't think the teams are 100% sure on what way this is going to go either.
Yeah, but one of the teams that's just on top of things is NRG, right? That's 3 zones, maybe 4 zones in a row that they've been able to pick. They did Valkyrie redeploy, I believe it was in game number 1, but putting themselves in that village there is going to be just prime position. And Era's in a prime position too until they have to slide down this hill. They're going to get pressured from a handful of different areas, and they have to be careful. Problem is for Tech, G7 Scout without a scope. Ugh.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? Yeah. It's a controller
that's a recipe for me losing RP right there.
We'll have to see if he can make it work for now. G2 making their move as well, and they're going to catch someone off guard here. Double 45, make it triple as Designful starts to land some nice shots. The bubble going to be forced as well. Scan will come in. You can see Gentrifying trying to move up for his team as well to convert that damage, but with defensive bombardments being exchanged, the bubble will go down first for their opposition, so G2 have a base to play with.
Designful playing this surprisingly passive after hitting for over 120 there. Gentrifying is going to get lit up. That's going to be Metro, I believe, with the Devo. Maybe that's the Rampage, but either way, Nox coming through and the gold bag res has to happen. Meanwhile, Ghost taken out by Prodigy Aces in your kill feed. You can see that. And Gent is back up with his gold armor. He's going to be A-OK. Fortunately for G2, they had some time from behind as NRG coming out with a clean swipe onto Hampino and CLG as well. A lot of players getting dropped all over the map all of a sudden when we had such a slow first 2 zones.
My word.
3 or 4 fights breaking out all over the place.
CLG go to sleep. NRG stay awake because they are making moves, and I love how NRG play. So many teams would be happy, content with sitting inside of that building, Tom, and just playing towards that end game. NRG saw an opportunity for KP, and they took it. And they won that fight, and now G2 kind of on the back foot here because the zone's going to be closing behind them. They're getting scanned as well, and this is going to be a fight they have to win, and more importantly, a fight they probably have to take too.
You can see the positioning from Prodigy Aces is so strong. Designful's going to have to hold that off, but Senpai's with the off angle just gets melted from the side.
Results are now pushing in. You can hear the ultimate being popped as well by Designful. So G2 trying to turn that knock into a clean wipe across the board, trying to just scarp her up, and they will get the finish onto Osenpai. But is that going to be enough? You can see Result is going to be in the feed with that knock, and now they're just trying to locate these final players. Gentrifying will take down Prodigy Aces with a combination play of Resulta, and that'll be 2 down, and that will be the fight they had to take. And like I said, they had to win.
Very nicely done. Just R301 shots across the map. So clean. Senpai looked safe for a second. You saw the high angle from Prodigy Aces. It looked like Designful was the one out of position. And Designful's been prone to getting knocked. But yet Resulta was there with the angle, with the Gibby. The R301 was just so strong with Gentrify as well. Nicely done. That's a big fight. And like you said, momentum-based team now starting to heat up.
SSG playing inside of this compound as well. This is to the north of the little village that we were talking about. The most teams are kind of inhabiting at the moment. So if they do get that zone pull, Space Station could be in a great position to put in another big game. G2 is going to be straight in front of Zaniel here. If they move up a little bit, G2, then Space Station might have to be aware of that. Another team traveling through the skies with the Skyward Dive, trying to make their late rotation as well. But 16 squads remaining. I tell you what, that's going to be cut about down to 7, 8, maybe even 9 when we see that next zone close.
Yeah, a lot of teams are going to end up dying when we move into zone number 4, and especially teams that are on the outside here. Look at the coexisting going down. They're going to all have to play on the outside of these buildings, and there's no way teams like Fury and NRG, who are both the teams to win out of our 3 games, they're just hanging out, splitting rent there. That is an expensive building.
The space station going to have to deal out some meds at the moment. Oh, and drops in a little tough position here. I'm not sure if he got spotted, though. The missile swarm will come in, and he hasn't been able to pop a battery or a Phoenix kit for now. Gentrifying in the feed as well. We'll get a finish onto Castellos to finish off the team they were previously fighting. Lazarus now making their move in as well, landing under this bridge, and this can be a pretty strong spot to hold. If you can hold the angles from above, you get a pretty decent amount of cover, which is probably what Space Station are hoping they can find.
I love that play. Remember when we're talking about how the zones have been a little spotty, they've been unpredictable, kind of bouncing here and there sometimes. Well, this zone, they have the information, and they're going to go full send it onto one of the safe spots in the map. Now, promos, you've been enforced. They're not safe. Noble coming around the corner. They're getting pinched from the side as well. That's going to be Noble with the sandwich. Not looking good. Duplex picking up a couple kills. Meanwhile, Esports Arena, they are big chilling. Look at the amount of real estate that they're owning with this high ground.
Defensive bomber's going to come in. There's a Gibraltar dome just below them, but look at that zone pool. It is moving towards the High Ridge village, so where NRG were, where Furia currently are, is the place to be for now. Space Station are going to have to make a really, really tough move, as now they're actually going to try and force things here, it looks, on this top building. It's NRG versus Furia. Furia showing no fear whatsoever, but are they going to be made to pay here? Nathan comes in, picks up one. Tech will pick up one himself, and that will be NRG winning the battle of the building, as Furia will fall.
Furia sends it, and Furia goes down. And speaking of going down, defensive bombardment going down right on top of Space Station Gaming. They said, you know what? We're redeploying out of here. That was G2 on top of the case. But what a fight. We'll see if they can get Nathan back in. That's going to be Rocker getting dropped by Strictly. Unfortunate. And Xset is going to help clean that one up. But meanwhile, I want to break down that fight that happened with Nathan. Can we talk about how he ran through all 3 players and knocked 2 of them? Doesn't matter if he gets thirsted. I mean, yeah, it does in the long run, but that was a sick play.
I love watching Nathan play. As soon as that bubble goes down, the man only knows forward. It's crazy to watch, and it's why he's one of the best fraggers that we have in the Apex Legends Global Series. It's very rare at that kind of range that he doesn't hit his shots, but G2 have been gifted a pretty decent spot here. They're going to have to fight their way down, and look at this. This was NRG's previous home. The portal from gentrifying now means that they have somewhere to play as well. Design for up on that high ground, but now look at Noble just outside of the zone here, having to be careful. Rakanishi going to be last player alive. Defensive bombardment might finish things off.
I've never seen anyone that was definitely set for death more than that in my life. Whether it was the zone, same with Rambo.
I tell you what, we might now.
They're all done for.
Rambo's doing what he can. The only problem is he's got the zone closing behind them. Space Station in the kill feed as well, as they take the team down that was holding that low ground. It's Lazarus that's been eliminated. Also, they say one of the players has been eliminated. I stand corrected, as 2 players do still find themselves on their feet for now. Zed Davis and G7 danked those 2 players, but the banner needs to be recovered here if they want to play this game out as a 3. But Space Station winning a vital battle towards this endgame.
So many death boxes over there. None of them can be grabbed, though, as looks like you do have Team Esports Arena rotate on over towards the corner over here. They've been playing it kind of low-key. That's where Lazarus had gone and taken their spot, basically. Some cheeky shots right there from Z Davis through the wall. Definitely not going to be able to get their crypto back on up, but still doing this as a duo is definitely possible. We've already seen NRG win a game today just as a duo.
And once again, is Esports Arena with another great position towards end zone. They're going to have to force something here, but it's a forcing of a fight against a duo instead of a trio. So if they recognize that, they're going to be in a great position here. Bubble being forced after the damage done from Duplex, and now they will be able to creep forward. They will be the trolls that normally hide under the bridge, but now they're coming to be the monsters on top of it.
Yeah, they're going to possibly continue to bully the way over here, but they're worrying about the team down below as well. I like this play. Running out of ammo for Verholz just a little bit, so you got to be a little bit more trigger discipline here as Renegades is going to drop. That's going to be Exile coming through with the squad wipe as well. Vaxon and Saucer going out in 9th place, but Esports Arena may want to consider going for a redeploy if they have this here. I know it's going to be difficult, but there's a lot of opportunity to play on the outside of the building, but Xset's already there. Multiple teams are going to have to do this because of the fact that there's going to be a team already inside.
Well, Xset managed to find the last player alive for Lazarus, eliminate him, and they now have the outside of this building to play from. Rampage in the hands as well of Clarify. Bubble will go down to give them a few moments, but this looks like an engagement is going to go down. You can tell because that Nox gas is down as well. Skittle Cakes will fall. Resulter in the feed as well. Exit trying to hold off this push desperately, and it looks like they will. They take down Esports Arena. A big hold from Exit, who need a big game.
G2 seems to be healthy still. Exit trying to reset. If Clarify can get this med kit off, that's going to be big. You can see another portal play from G2 to try to avoid the situation over here. And that's very common. One team inside that building, sometimes two, and another team on the outside. 7 squads remain. We'll find out exactly where the rest of the pressure is going to come here very shortly.
Portal being taken up to the high ground here by G2. They've only got a rock to play behind, but it gives them some angles to work with. Good shots with the wingman. Great shots with the wingman from Designful, but the only problem is look at the bombardments coming down. Bombardment by name, bombardment by nature, but somehow G2 managed to tank it for now and stay alive.
And the counter bombardment comes down as well. Beast of the Hunt's in hand for Designful if he wants to use that. They do have the bubble there. Scurry from 100 Thieves taking down Tech Candy. That's going to be a double grenade right there. Arcstar into frag.
Another frag grenade going to be lovingly rolled down the side of the building as well as G2 now make their move in as well. Designful doing a great job to finish off Eternity inside of this building. Can he finish it? Yes, he can. Bowser will fall, and now we're down to 4 squads. G2 holding this fence, and they might be in a position here to maybe third party this battle unless they get focused as they try to move in. Once again, that bubble is going to be vital in this endgame.
G2 specializes in these small skirmishes. We've seen these teams in the end zones before. Space Station Gaming, G2, Exet, 100 Thieves, all amazing teams. Basically in great position right here. I mean, it could be anyone's game. Everyone is full. Everyone has the loadout that they want to. Yes, Vane's running a little low on ammo, but this is the last zone. It shouldn't matter. You can see Designful is also popping some ult excels. 124 from Gentrifying. Look at this little head glitch that he has, Mark.
Gentrifying looking like something out of Star Wars with those shots coming in from the L-Star. Almost managed to get that knock. Now there's a team up on the roof, so G2 trying to focus them, and Space Station just trying to buy as much time as they can before they have to make their move. The missile swarm's going to slow that down ever so slightly, but it doesn't do any damage. So they're going to be in a position to maybe make a late push here, but the bubble is going to be their only form of cover. They have to hope that someone else engages here so that they can make some sort of play towards this building, but it doesn't look easy for them to do so.
The bubble play was on point. You can see trying to avoid the Nox gas grenade is Gentrifying. He's also taking some off angles. Double knock right there with just a small little burst. That's 100 Thieves going down. Still 3 squads remaining. You can see exactly what G2's plan is. Space Station Gaming's on over towards the side, but Space Station Gaming somehow has been remaining low-key throughout all of this.
So good from Space Station. So much discipline being shown for them, and a chance for them to really make things count. However, Han Solo's around the corner. Call him Gentrifying, call him what you want, because he is melting Space Station as they try and peek around that corner. The problem is that gives the signal for Exit now to push. Gentrifying goes down. Resulter last alive for his squad. He'll pick up 1, but can he hold off Space Station Gaming, who are low HP now? Frex moving in with that alternator. It looks like it's a 1v1v1 maybe inside of these bubbles. Frex will fall, and Exet will clutch up.
That is how you play an end circle from all of the angles, from all of the teams. Space Station Gaming playing phenomenal. Exet was playing phenomenal. G2 was on top of it. 100 Thieves unfortunately gets melted in 4th place, but they were playing amazing too. That is how you play Apex. Amazing job by Team Exet. Amazing job by all the teams, really. Perfect execution.
Yeah, amazing to watch that end game. I can't even decide, you know, what won that game. It seemed like everyone was almost just playing off of each other, and it just came down to that final moment and that bubble disappearing, leaving that player with a pretty much no hope, to be honest with you, when you go in that 1v1 situation. But Exet on top is the main headline here to take away from our game at number 4. 12 points for that placement, 10 kills overall, 22 points. Space Station just in behind.
The only thing you could say is maybe Gentrifying could queue out of that situation. He was considering going back on over through the portal, but the head glitches that he was using when we were on his screen were just so good. You can see using that under the building, going on over towards the rock and just melting Space Station Gaming. Meanwhile, Space Station Gaming was playing the edge to perfection, just waiting for the zone to close, tossing the bubble out. All of a sudden, the rest of the teams collapsed on each other, but it was Exet with the slow creep and the slow bleed out over towards the side, and a big game after when it was all said and done, 22 points.
Very good game from G2 as well. We know how difficult a road it was towards that final zone for them. Had to fight their way through numerous teams, and they almost made it count in those final moments. But 8 kills on the board for them as well will give them a healthy amount of points, Tom. And like I said, today is the first time we've really seen G2 try and step it up from their first 2 weeks performance. But Xset, that win just reminds us to look back at last week and how good they were. They're bringing that form into this week too.
They picked up so many kills at the end right there too, and that's not a lot of damage based on the amount of kills that you're picking up. You're going to take that 10 out of 10. Amazing job by Xset. It could have been anyone's game at the very end. It's all about the Gibby bubbles. It's all about the teamwork and all about hitting your shots right there. The communication, I'm sure, from all the teams were extremely on point too. What an exciting game number 4.
I love the fact that I feel like we've got 2 of the form teams at the moment in Apex Legends in this lobby as well. Xset, you got Space Station, and of course you got NRG, who have looked like they found their form as well. I really feel like form is something that's starting to find its way into Apex Legends here, Tom. As we take a look at these leaderboards, either teams are finding their groove and feeling good, or it feels like they're off the boil a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you look at teams like 100 Thieves, Benchwarmers, Renegades, Noble, all of these teams have what it takes to be on the left side of the leaderboard. Right now, they're just a little bit slower in terms of these team fights, in terms of the rotations, and the communication is on point when you listen to teams like NRG, et cetera, et cetera. So I can't wait to see what happens. I know that other teams are waiting to get back up on the leaderboard because Furia jumped up 16 spots. If you can do anything, just look at what they did in the previous game before this too. So still 2 more remain, and it's anybody's series.
It's Xset jumping up 14 places with that performance as well into 6th place. But look how tight it is outside of that top 4. You got 27, 25, 23, 22, 22, 21. It goes down. You can count yourselves, and you can all read at home. But again, much like we saw from Amir earlier, you got a couple of teams that started to separate themselves. But Tom, the rest of the lobby is still open for everyone to put in a big game and throw themselves up the leaderboards.
It really is. Don't forget that you still have to get on that accumulative leaderboard too. So if you're not, stretching and reaching for all the points that you can, you're doing it wrong. But you cannot feel underconfident after these first 4 games because there's still 2 more big ones coming up.
2 more big ones coming up indeed. It's time for us to go to a break just to catch our breath. And we need to be honest, because the first 4 have been absolutely amazing. 2 more games coming your way. Game 5 first after this.
We are through to our 5th game of 6 today here in the North American region, and we have plenty more action to come within these 2 games. I'm once again joined by Fallout, and let's have a look at the current leaderboard and see what the scores on the doors are and who has got some catching up to do and who is doing very well at the moment. What do you make of this, Fallout?
Yeah, Energy started so strong, right? 50 points through 3 games. And look at this, G2 crawling back, narrowing that deficit to just 12 points. So at this point, it's anyone's game. We talked about G2, this being a must-perform series for them. Well, they have shown up in a big way. But look at this, the consistency of Esports Arena and Space Station 1 and 2 in Pro League overall above Cloud9, it's showing up.
Yeah, Space Station's performance has been very, very impressive. The consistency, choosing when to engage when it's at their liberty to, and just chilling in the meantime has been really good. So they're focusing on the deep runs, and that will move them up 5 places to 4th place here on 33 points. So despite the huge start from NRG, we've got some teams catching up to them a little bit.
And at this point, anyone within that top 4 especially, I think it's anyone's potential game with 2 games left. It depends how Energy performs, of course. If they drop goose eggs, well, of course, it's anyone's game. If they continue to play how they did in games 1 and 2, not even close, that's for sure. And a couple teams on the right side of those standings, right? 100 Thieves, Ghost Gaming. Ghost started strong, has been quiet ever since. These are teams that you really, really looked at with a magnifying glass coming into this week because they needed to perform, and they haven't necessarily yet. 100 Thieves haven't yet raised their banner to the expectations of 100 Thieves, championship caliber organization, championship team from, of course, the NA champs, and haven't performed yet.
Yeah, it seems that magnifying glass may be burning them. We'll see if they can survive. Again, the last 2 games now, and a victory. If you can hit that 1st place, it can dramatically change how that leaderboard looks, and there are 2 more opportunities to do that. So we'll see who's able to take that 1st place and hopefully get some KP as well.
That's right, as the dropship is flying across World Dead for game number 5 here. 100 Thieves, well, they'll be dropping in Tree, just south of where we see Xset here, dropping in Harvester. Going to go for the quick recon, and we'll see exactly where this ring is going to be pulling. That's going to be pivotal information here. We'll take a look at the overhead map and let you all know as soon as we possibly can, but it looks like Xset is going to be within that map, so a good start for them. Meanwhile, we'll check out Noble. We'll check out a few of these other teams as well. Noble dropping Geyser. We have Era Eternity dropping Fragment East. We have Madness & Co. dropping Fragment West. Those are kind of some of the teams nearby, Noble at least.
Yeah, we can see Noble are dropping on the crafting, so that can help them get some evo on the go, should it be required. But they'll go through the bins first and see if there's any more armors to find now. And we can see how the map is looking. What do you think of this ring here?
Yeah, so it's going to be a northeast ring, which is very interesting. That means a max pull, max rotation for G2, which could actually be a blessing in disguise. G2 plays so well on the edge. We talk about that often. They'll be trailing NRG, who also will find some opportunities to potentially take some fights against Xset and Harvester, to maybe take a fight against CLG and Landslide. If NRG can rotate fast, they can find some potentially clean flanks and 3v3s. It just depends how they decide to play this rotation through the far east choke or the northwest choke by Furia and Countdown. One thing I want to keep a close eye as well has been dropping Countdown, and they've been actually working up to Skyhook and third-partying Skyhook late. I think they'll do that again, and they'll be happy to take that northern rotation through Survey Camp. We'll keep a close eye on Furia, as they will likely be pushing Skyhook here momentarily.
Yeah, I know one of us was talking about the timing there at the beginning and rotating. And Xset are on the go very, very quickly indeed. They're prioritizing position and they're out of Harvester already, which is pretty good for them, depending on where they land. But they are on foot, which will help, as we have seen. I feel like the Val cults we have seen, generally speaking, I think are at best 50-50 in terms of getting deleted on landing or having some success. So let's see how these rotations come through. There's some gold for Designful to collect. We'll be hoping for armor, I'm sure.
Oh, look at this. Furia on cue. Rotate up to Skyhook and find themselves looming over a third-party potential with Ghost Gaming nearby and Premier nearby as well. So look, it's such a fast rotation from Furia. That's their textbook. That's their strat. Quick countdown drop. If they're not contested at countdown, which sometimes they are, they're going to rotate quickly to Skyhook and they're going to try to fight.
Yeah, and their armor is looking glorious as well. There's plenty of favorable loot. We've got some nice backpacks and scopes as well. And of course, Fuse is on deck. And I think everybody enjoys this unless they're on the receiving end behind a small rock. So Fury are going to have plenty of engaging action. The Rampage is out as well. The Rampage is becoming more and more popular. I feel like it was notable with Abraleli, but we're seeing on more players now. We'll see what they're capable of with it as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Fury. Shout out to a man, a tasty burrito, who called me out Twitter for calling it the Knuckle Buster instead of the Knuckle Cluster. But you know what? The trivia was too good from last week, if you know what if you know, you know. Meanwhile, Fuse and Furia find themselves in a fight here against Ghost Gaming, and keep in mind there might be Premier nearby. Big 3v3. This could be massive for Furia. All up to Hackalo. Mr. Fuse himself, he's last alive, and he's gonna get taken out. Ghost Gaming gets the better half of this one. Furia is out.
Well, that was a turn of events. We looked at their rotation for some promise, and they got deleted. They got put in boxes real quick. Well, that's a very unfortunate end for them after the success they had 2 games ago, but sometimes it'd be like that. They'll be out the door. They'll be kicked out the door by the likes of Ghost. That is some nice early KP. I think it was Team Sheesh we heard talking earlier about having some early KP. Just to kind of secure something, worst case scenario, because it can always go wrong.
Yeah. You know, one thing that was interesting, we saw Premier actually re-enter Skyhook. It looks like they heard from a distance the fight and they wanted some part of it. That's Premier, formerly known as Obey. Ronnie, Hambino, Crook performed fairly well throughout ALGS Season 1. And they might just be keeping a close eye on Ghost and maybe gatekeeping, maybe playing a little sneaky, much like we saw Sentinels do in that infamous clip that my man Onset had someone meme on Twitter. We might see Premier do the same thing, kind of sneak over towards this choke and wait for Ghost Gaming for the opportunity. We'll keep a close eye on it if it does happen. Meanwhile, Legacy MX Mexico taken out and fighting against ESA right now, but it looks like it's ESA Black getting, or ESA, sorry, getting the upper hand.
See, Renegades are close, but they seem to be moving away from Ghost's position. Vaxlon losing his armor very quickly indeed. Where are your shields, bro? Cousin? Fam? Moving into the tunnel.
Brother,
we'll see if they're going to get thirsted by Ghost, who they move a bit closer, but they're being careful about it.
Yeah, that's right. That's that choke I mentioned. And instead of Premier, it's actually Renegades that's going to actually rotate over towards that choke. Keep in mind, Renegades, well, they drop all the way over in... Actually, I'm not sure where Renegades dropped. I think they typically drop Tree. So I'm a little bit shocked to see them all the way up in Skyhook. I don't know if they didn't drop Tree this game, but that is a very fast rotation coming from Renegades to make it all the way to Skyhook choke.
I do like the Renegades logo. I think it's one of the better logos in esports because we have the typical like animal logo, right? Animal with big teeth and so on, but they've got a dude with a big hat. You know, despite the fact that my head is way too big to wear hats, I do appreciate the logo.
You and I both. It's a sick one, that's for sure. A little cowboy action. So you keep an eye on Xset. Your winners from last week had a really, really big game, number 4. Over G2 and Space Station. Those are some big names. They need a big game 5 and 6. They want to continue climbing the standings here. A team that has certainly performed so far in the Pro League, especially in week number 2. Looking for a consistent game in week number 3. And we'll want to keep a close eye, obviously on Lucky over here at Epicenter. Some long-range poke. But we'll want to keep a close eye on Renegades and Ghost Gaming as they're going to have to make the rotation from Skyhook. We'll probably go back and check in on them. I'd actually love to do a listen-in with Ghost as they decide how they want to rotate, and they're going to be obviously facing some teams on that rotation. But for now, it's Unlucky over in Epicenter, looking for some poke and looking for an opportunity to take a fight.
Yeah, these longbow shots looking certainly unlucky, as I don't think he's hit one just yet. And that's not too far a distance. Oh, that's even more unlucky now. This is getting very ironic indeed. Able to escape without too much damage done, however. That's a beautiful skin on that gun.
Mm-hmm. You appreciate nice skins when
Absolutely.
They come.
Yeah. Put some nice stripes to it.
Meanwhile, Esports Arriva still over in Lava Siphon. And they, of course, will find themselves having to be really cautious. They dropped Lava City and rotated over to Lava Siphon. From one Lava POI to another. And of course, I also have Lava Fissure. A lot of lavas here in this current season. Ecstatic for next season, by the way. Escape, the new map, looks very, very promising. Ash looks like she has a ton of competitive potential, great mobility. I'm really looking forward to Escape, the nerf to the L-Star, thank goodness, which Onset called a gun from Star Wars. Is it Respawn's Apex Legends, or is it Respawn Jedi Fallen Order? Either way, you like the Star Wars references in Apex.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I can see where he's coming from with that one. Yeah, do you know what? I can't wait to see the top up with the Mastiff. That's what I'm looking forward to. But also, I think just the color scheme on the map is going to be very engaging, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the areas with water will be handled in that game. But the movement looks very, very interesting with the new movement options we have there, which we don't really have in the current maps with the balloons and so on. So very interested to see how that one plays out. Now, Esports Arena got their data and they will head forwards. We can see that ring is heading more and more northeast, and there are a lot of teams there already, and there's plenty of open ground as well, which is good for spectators, but bad if you're trying to find some shelter.
That's right. Love that you appreciate good artwork in video games. A lot of work goes into art and lighting. Big shout out to the Respawn art team, lighting team, everyone that puts so much work and effort into making this game so beautiful, by the way. And shout out to the build team as well, my man. Tread, hey Tread, aka the one and only. Big shout out to every single one of the Respawn devs supporting ALGS and competitive Apex as we take a look here at Esports Arena, making their rotation over back towards Harvester. They're going to play a very cautious rotate, really wise decision, because the rotate above no name POI is going to be a scary one with so many teams nearby. So they're going to play the cautious route instead. I like that decision. As we do actually have a listen and ready with ESA, let's take a listen and see how they decide to finish this rotate.
I think we Valko from this.
Let's check out this way.
Just zip up and Valko. And we'll have 2 ultic cells for his next Valko. We gotta try and get in before another. There's just Valko up here. Valko.
Go on.
Go to redeploy. Is there anybody up here? Let's take it.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, go over here. Oh, of course he hits me. Pop a ultic cell right now. Here's another one.
I'll get it back super quick with 2.
We'll just slide down the survey and try and get a spot in. Do you see any free spots right now?
And we're literally on the hard edge of zone. Only half this building's in.
Donut, Clementizer wouldn't be a horrible spot.
Let's just Valko from here. Do you got Valko?
Yep. Yeah, I'm about to. Yep.
We're gonna have to find a good spot here, boys. So look around, Skittles. You can make a call here. Don't be afraid to.
I know. I just don't know what's free because we're.
I know.
Wanna go here?
You
ready?
Just do it. Yeah. Just do it. Maybe donuts free? That donut?
If it's not free, remember it's only round 2.
Kinda risky.
Fuck it, go on. Land right here, on the height. We'll bub in. Yeah, they're here.
There's a team there.
Go downstairs, go downstairs.
Cossack team.
Just chill here. This is not a good spot.
Is there any chance we could maybe get up into there?
Not with this team here.
I can
go into zone and do it. We could literally just walk into zone and go around.
We can scan this area.
Let's do it.
And they're watching us. So we need to scout and make. They're going upstairs now.
Okay. We faked them out.
To make sure one person needs to check for a spot, and it's got to be one of you two because you guys have movement /bub.
I think we just tank through zone. We tank through zone, take zip up. I don't think they can fry us.
It's totally safe. They can't shoot you like walking.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Are we sure that it's free over here?
I think it is.
It's a pad right here.
Well, this is a full send.
This is a full send. Pad in, pad in.
2, 1.
We're in, we're in, we're in.
This room sucks,
There's a
by
team
the way.
here. Let's try and get this room. I think we want to try and get that closer room in.
Is it possible?
I think it's possible.
Oh, there's a window right there.
I think they're above us, right?
Yeah.
I have to waste Bub. I think we push
there's,
it.
There's a team back here too.
Yeah,
I
we
think
don't want
we
to be on
push
this
it.
side, I don't think.
Alright.
You ready?
Yep.
Go, 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 go.
They're in there. They're gonna go back, go back,
Okay,
go back.
never mind. Go back, go back, go back, go back.
There's a team outside the wall. Remember, don't get killed through the window,
Alright.
dude.
This is the window. Okay.
They're
Wow,
gonna
they're close.
The other window.
could be a G2. There's a window right next to you. Yeah.
Hey, you can crouch right here. This is totally safe right here. If you
I
ever
know,
need
but
to
we
battle.
don't want a team
know.
to climb up and look down.
Let's wait for his traps. Remember, this window's open. These barred up windows aren't. You can't shoot through.
Well, an extended listen in there, but a well worth it listen in. So much to gather from that listen in. James, what'd you take?
Well, they're very methodical. They're not afraid to take a risk. You know, there's no bickering in the team, which is great. The communication's really on point. They understand the risk they're taking, but they believe in their own skill. So I think that's really awesome from them.
Yeah.
They make their decisions quickly as well. But you know, some part of that rotation, they didn't really have the info, so they've got to figure things out as best they can and use the clues, the sound cues, and so on. But it was pretty good.
Yeah. Absolutely. A couple things for me, and you kind of covered it, right? You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable in competitive Apex, and we got to see it from them right there. They weren't getting too frustrated. They were comfortable being uncomfortable. They were really uncomfortable throughout the entire rotation. Couldn't find a spot that they wanted. The second thing in particular is the importance of the 3 roles in competitive Apex, which really comes down to a rotator legend, a flex legend, and a support legend. Obviously, in Apex, you have recon, you have all the defensive, you have all types of different classes, but in competitive Apex, it's different. The importance of those 3 roles in particular, and you heard them when they said, hey, one of you needs to go check for a spot. That's the rotator legend. Typically, it's a Wraith. Typically, it's a Bloodhound. But in this comp, you don't really have a great rotator legend. The best you got is a Valkyrie, and it showed right there. So that's where Wraith is so valuable, and that's why G2 is so great. Gent in particular, he's one of the best rotating players and flex players in the game.
Might be something
See G2 clearly discussing where teams are, but where they also have to rotate because they are not in the zone right now, and Renegades have got all kinds of problems. Baxlon are up close there with the Mastiff, trying to land these shots, switching out for the close taps with the Scout, and that will be enough. They can get Sorcerer back up unless the 3P's on the way. A quick scan to see where people are, maybe warn them off as well.
Meanwhile, Ghost Gaming going to take out 2/3 of ESA. So that's the team we followed for a while. They didn't really like where they ended up, and it shows as Ghost Gaming is going to pounce. Nice shot from Renegades to take out 2 or 3 right there. They get some kill points, valuable kill points. 16 squads left. This is a stacked late game, which you would expect based on where the zone ended, because there's so much cover that you're going to see a lot of teams remaining. Meanwhile, G2 on the prowl. They take out Sheesh.
We can see NRG in safety at the moment. They can see the teams that are around them, and we can look at that ring. They're going to have to find another place to go to soon, as 20 seconds. That ring is going to cause some problems. Well, we've got the portal being made by Sweet now.
Oh boy.
Very, very important for their rotations, but may have to be a little out in the open. Just having a look-see. Now we'll see if they choose to engage, as I don't think they're going to be too safe in that spot once this ring starts to close.
That's right. Meanwhile, we do have XSET still in the same position here. We got NRG who made the rotation. XSET's going to be hitting a Valkyrie rotate. Excited to see how NRG continues to play this. G2 is potentially out. 2/3 of them at least. I think there's 1 left. It might be Designful. And as I say that, he's going to get shut down by Impulse. So we'll take a look at XSET here on their rotate. They're going to go high ground. Need to be careful because they could get focused here.
Yeah, where are they going to find for cover? They're going to have to drop. There is a team below them, though, and XSET are having a lot of problems now. Just a Valk remaining, and again, we talk about hiding in plain sight. I've said that a few times, but look at the teams. There are teams everywhere in all directions, and he's literally just crouching behind a door. Teams to his right, teams ahead of him, teams on the inside as well. He's in so much trouble.
Yeah, that's right. Insane game number 5 here. We got 15 squads still left as we go into ring number 5. It is stacked, and as I say that 3 drop, it's Noble and it's X-Set, I believe, out of this one. 12 squads now remain as we're on board with NRG. They find themselves in a really tough position. Let's jump into a listen-in with NRG.
Oh, wait, I can't crouch it there.
Come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. I only have 1 cell.
He's not focusing us, he's not focusing us.
Bro, they might be so stupid in Valkyl, and we get this for free. Anyone that peeks us here, bro, we just gotta try to greet our bubble as long as possible.
See us, bro.
Yeah, can we come to me? Can we just come to me? Like right here on me, they can't. Like they have to peek up. Kids are shit in this game. They might just fucking think, all right, we're gonna Valkyl height or something. Like this could be a fucking lick.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I'm insta bubbling when they like swing that. Okay.
I feel like low key maybe what if because we don't want to bubble just one guy. I think we shoot him first.
We shoot him and then we can bubble if you have
they're
to.
all looking the other way, boys. Oh, I think they're gonna try to play this. That's why they're gonna just play that side, and this will be kind of a questionable spot with them playing that. But they're gonna have to fight for this, and we third that. Roof is not gonna be safe. Like the roof will be safe, but it'll be like our side. And we can jump over this wall and play right here too, boys. Over this wall, there's crates and shit with corners that who knows, we might be able to play, right?
Yeah, there are.
We're about to hit a lick.
Can I stand rocker? Because I have a longbow?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, because I can, if I headshot one-on-one, that's fucking huge. It's AFK here. He's there, but don't
he knows.
He did. I don't think he, dude, deadass, I do not think he looked. I do not think he looked. They're gonna get exploded here, bro. They won't be able to play that. Let's just fucking chill. Gotta watch it back here. We're good on the backside. Caustic team is inside staring at us, but their doorway is
on the pillar now. On the pillar now.
Boys, we're just sitting here until they're getting sprayed by height. That's so good. 11 teams alive. There's definitely gonna have to be a fight out there in that field. If we look like these guys are in shambles, we definitely get bolt them.
Well, that corner swing isn't even in. That's not them. They have Val Gibby. They're playing Val Gibby Wraith.
Yep. Okay, there's more.
And key word there, if they look like they're in shambles, we're definitely going to give ult them and expect some potential aggression from NRG. But for now, I think they're going to stay posted with where they're at for at least some time. But good to get perspective and good to hear the shot calling from Sweet. Good discussion on Twitter right now as well about that exact topic. Meanwhile, no, they're going to get aped and they're going to get pushed. NRG about to be out of this game. It's Ghost who had their number and had their position, and they had no idea.
They got crept on. They were scanned the entire time. They didn't move. They were all bunched up together, trying to share warmth like penguins, and they got thrown into the sea. 9 squads remain now. I would have loved to have heard the comms. They have got to be frustrated with that. They really got.
And James, what's so interesting is they got scanned by a Bloodhound and didn't make anything of it. I thought at least they would acknowledge the scan. Maybe they thought it was the last member of G2, the solo. I don't know what they thought, but they were actually completely spotted out by Ghost there, and who had their number the entire time. And NRG had no idea. Meanwhile, Renegades find themselves down 1. Pow currently out, but getting revived. SSG in a great opportunity here to jump from 4th place, potentially into the top 2.
A nice crack. Is he going to push behind it though? As there is an L-Star just around the corner, but no problem for Frex, who does even more. Cracking now, dropped into Nyla here if he needs them, and they will push as he bats up. Surely this team is not going to last long.
Frex on roller, baby. He connects and absolutely beams. That's the controller impact, and the switch from mouse and keyboard to controller for Frex months ago pays dividends. They find a full squad right on RNG, and now 6 squads remain.
Space Station, Unlucky, Ghost Gaming, Premier, 100 Thieves and Bad Boys are what remains. Space Station going deep again. 100 Thieves deep here as well, but that ring is going to force them forward into the open, into the defensive bombardment, and their shields are going to get utterly ruined. But can they follow up on that? You can see Space Station, they've still got a corner for the time being as that ring continues to close. 100 Thieves falling to the floor. I think they've been lost now as the scout is tapping for dropped.
And that was such a clutch defensive bombardment who absolutely ripped into 100 Thieves, and now 4 squads remain. It's Premier with the high ground. Nice flank coming through from Ronnie, but he's going to get taken out by Space Station from afar. Ghost Gaming, Space Station find themselves in a skirmish. Nice shot coming through with the Mastiff, and we got 2 squads left.
And they are closing on them. Their shields are more than reasonable at present. They're in a good position, and indeed these shotguns are coming out. The dome will protect. Denial is down, but Drops and Frex is still good in the hood. And that is a drill from the Vault. Quick reload in. Not many bullets left though. That wingman better be ready to finish off. Frex is the last man now. It has to be the wingman. He's the only man standing for the squad. He's close. He's cracking. But Ghost Gaming will finish him off, and they'll take game 5.
Ghost Gaming with a massive game number 5. I called them out before the dropship flew, and boy did they perform. It started with the win against Furia, 3v3 in Skyhook. It extended into all the way north of Epicenter, where they took such great opportunities to fight ESA, to then fight NRG. They took their fights, they played with aggression, they played that Bloodhound comp to perfection, and they took out Space Station in the 3v3 to end it. Ghost Gaming, arguably the best Arenas team. We saw them in the UMG Arenas tournament. They won it, they dominated. We see them win that 3v3 time and time again, pound for pound. They're so talented.
They really, really are, and that's really unfortunate for Frex, but it shows you the shortage of resources towards the end. Woo! Didn't have time to try and get anything. 14 kills for 26 points. A fantastic game from Ghost Gaming.
Insane. And I will say it right now, Panders is the most underrated controller player in all of Apex Legends. He is so talented on the controller. We'll, of course, see the stats here in a moment, but 6, the IGL of this squad, the lone keyboard and mouse player, longtime competitor, former champion alongside Nicewig in competitive Apex, obviously played with Hodsick on Pittsburgh Knights way back at the Krakow preseason invitational. Turns was the 3rd on that team. He's just persevered. Every team that he's been on, he's elevated, he's made better, such a good IGL, and playing with a young gun in Panders and another calm, cool, and collected vet in Metro who played for Sola Fide early on. This squad performed here in game 5. That sets them up great going into game 6.
It really does, and I believe that's the first, well, in week 1 and week 2, they didn't make it into the top 5, but they do way better than that in game 5 here in week 3, a first place for Ghost Gaming, and they're not, I mean, sometimes they get the kills, but that is the gold medal they were looking for in game 5. That's really going to impact their standings in the leaderboards. And we can see the scores on the doors. 6 kills for Mr. Octane, 6 kills for Bloodhound as well. Almost 2,000 damage there for Pandas, leading for his team.
That's the 2 controller players, Metro and Panders, each dropping 1.6k plus damage. It's almost a 2k bomb coming through from Panders with 6 kills, 4 assists, and of course 6, the IGL of this squad. Happy to play more of a utility support role on Gibraltar. Great gameplay coming through from Ghost Gaming. And how about Metro on Octane? You like to see the Octane Bloodhound, highly aggressive comp in game 5. You're behind in the standings. You're on the right side of those standings in 11th or 12th place. You need a big game. They switch up their comp. They go Octane, they go Bloodhound, and it pays off.
I would love to see that back from Ghost Gaming's POV as well. From I think they were on the top of Lava Siphon, right, as the ring was starting to close and forced them off, and then obviously NRG got ambushed a bit later on after all those scans, not respecting them, just thinking, okay, there's no reason anybody would climb over this wall and delete us after they were in a good position. And let's not forget, they were going deep. They had 2 victories already today, so things could have escalated for them, but they were taken out by a SWAT team.
Yeah, it just goes to show the importance of being omni-aware in competitive Apex, right? Energy was so focused, singular thread on that team on high ground. They didn't realize they got scanned and got flanked immediately after by Ghost Gaming. So a really interesting game, a fun game number 5. A crazy game 4, by the way. That was one of the craziest finishes in game 4. NA in week 3 has certainly not disappointed. And to talk about it all, to break it down, we're going to welcome Kate back to the desk.
You are not wrong. Disappointment is not a word I would choose to describe any of these games today, for sure. But I want to real quick delve a little deeper, Fallout, into as we take a look at some highlights here in a hot second. Ghost Gaming had an absolutely pop-off game, and this was from the early rounds all the way into our last game. And I just gotta say, we don't often see these teams pop off in that dominating format from the beginning all the way through to the end. Fallout, just weave me a story here. Tell me how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We'll see that when we get to the Game 5 highlights, because they were really quiet in Game 4 here. But Game 4, well, it was all about G2. It was all about Space Station. It was all about Exit. I can't wait to get to the late game and kind of be able to watch that back, because it was one of the craziest end games I have seen. But of course, we had to get there first. Exit had to fight through hell and through the fire and the flames to get to that late game. They defeated ESA. They stayed alive. And this play coming through you're going to see momentarily from G2 was just insane. They find themselves being the unfortunate recipients of a third party. They find themselves under such pressure, and that port from Jet to go wide left to get the angle, that's what G2 is so good at. The Nick Merck snipe down-esque flank and positioning, and the decision making to get wide angles and to be able to melt your opponents on controller. That is what allowed G2 to sneak into the top 3 as we jump into game 5 here. James, break it down for me.
Yeah, we had some really good action in this game 5, and you know, Ghost, they came second in the first round today, so the first place here in game 5 was fantastic, but we saw some great position. We saw great rotations from Esports Arena. Ultimately, they ended up in a pretty bad spot for them, so they went out earlier than they might have liked, and Renegades here with the L-Star causing all kinds of problems, and then doing more later on. But I think it was very unfortunate for NRG. Again, they had tunnel vision ahead of them, just waiting to exploit some teams who are stuck in the corner, and they ended up getting exploited themselves.
Yeah, that's right. You saw, Ghost Gaming right there, actually pretty weak, able to heal back up, and as a result, able to take the win in game number 5. Now, to answer your question, Kate, what did Ghost Gaming do so well? Well, honestly, they took their 3v3s. They found their opportunities to take pure fights without getting third party, without risk of third party, and they did it about 4 or 5 times. Rinse and repeat, copy and paste until the very last fight against Space Station. Well, you're going to get yourself a win. You're going to get yourself a 25+ point game.
Well, that's not too shabby at all. But I want to real quick ask about the zones here, because we have seen, based on where we've seen the zones pull, right, in the last 5 games. Again, we're going only to game number 6 here, folks. Where are you expecting that zone to head for game number 6? Where are you hoping for it to go based on where these teams are dropping and where we see some of these choke points really showcase the drama? James, I'll start with you.
I've loved the zones we've seen so far. That was a great example in game 5 and game 4 because they were open. There was limited cover, but it was cover into half cover into no cover in game 5 as that zone just forced people out from behind the walls. I want to see a southwest specifically zone, not too far like Dome, but a bit more like, I guess, central south, because as Matafe said in EMEA, like those are the hardest zones because they're really hard to rotate into, hard to take some space and so on. But that's great entertainment for me. I'm not on the server, so I want to see those brutal zones. I want to see that difficulty and people try and overcome it and force their way into buildings.
Yeah, and Ken, I'm going to agree wholeheartedly with James there. We've had some of the best zones I think I remember seeing in a series of competitive Apex, and I'd love to see a southeast zone as well. We haven't seen one yet. We've seen some good zones so far. That'd be a fun one to keep an eye on. Where am I expecting the zones to go? I have no idea. It's obviously so hard to predict here as we see NRG only with 60 points. They had 50 after 3.
I love that you say only Fallout, because if there's one thing that has been, listen, joking aside, if there's one thing we have learned through BR, particularly through Apex, you cannot sleep on just about everybody. Now, admittedly, there are some teams towards the farther part of the lower part of this leaderboard that I would be shocked and mathematically probably not possible. But I will say that there is definitely some teams not to sleep on. Fallout, speaking of which, I mean, are you looking at, I'm looking at 3 through, like 10 here that could have one of those Ghost Gaming pop-off games and really, shake things up.
Absolutely. We saw Furia do it in game 3. We saw Ghost do it in game 5. That's what's so much fun about competitive Apex is any team at any time can do a 25+ bomb and skyrocket up the standings here. So I'm excited for game 6. I'll tell you right now, it is going to be a doozy as we have about 10 or 11 or 12 teams who can sneak into the top 3. It's all about performing. If anyone's going to do it, my bold prediction, not so bold, Space Station stays consistent.
There it is. Well, something else to get excited for is you can enter our Lenovo Legion's ALGS Pro League giveaway. For your chance to win a free Lenovo Legion gaming PC, simply head over to twitter.com/Lenovo Legion for more details. Definitely something to consider doing. So there you go there. And you know what else? Something else we're going to talk about real quick. Prime Gaming members, listen up. This one is for you, especially if you happen to enjoy little Watson. This is what Prime Game members can grab right now. It's the exclusive Electric Royalty Bundle with an epic Watson skin and shocking new look for the Volt SMG. God, I love that writing. And this offer expires November 5th. Make sure to head over to gaming.amazon.com/Apex Legends. That's gaming.amazon.com/Apex Legends for more detail. Make sure to check back each month to claim the latest for your legends. That is a fancy looking skin there, my dudes. Fancy
Major buffs
Drank.
coming too.
Great
Major
Drank
buffs.
Watson.
Good timing to grab a Watson skin, right, James?
Absolutely, yeah. It's time to build fences with style, get a bit of purple going on. And also, you can just hold all those ultimate accelerants for your Valk.
What a delight of a thing. Let's talk about what you've been saying on the socials. We've actually got some tweets from our fantastic listeners, our fantastic viewers at Play Apex Esports, at Furia USA. It's so good to see a Fuse in the ALGS. I've just switched my main to Fuse, so fun to play with. Hands up in chat if you main Fuse as well. Main Fuse, that's kind of a funny phrase. Anyway, speaking of Fuse in the ALGS, I'm here for it, mates. Drinking cold ones before the match, making cold ones during the match. Wow, okay, well done. Oh,
man like Marty the Fozzy-holic.
He's on point always. I gotta say, this guy Fozzy, the best tweets in the game. Facts, hands down.
There it is, straight from John himself. Well, hey, if you want to be on that par with our tweeters, they tweet, the people who tweet, us tweeters, it doesn't matter. Either way, head on over to Play Apex Esports on Twitter, or youtube.com/Play Apex Esports, or of course twitch.tv/Play Apex. We're everywhere. Listen, if you want to give us a free follow, a free sub, we wouldn't hurt it. We wouldn't mind. We love you a lot. And you know what? That seems about the right time for me to say, guess what? It's time to go to break, because right after this, it's that all-important game number 6.
5 down and one more game to go here on the Saturday of Apex Legends Global Series Pro League North America. T-Squared is alongside myself on set to take you through the final game of the day. And Tom, it's kind of been the story of 3 or 4 teams so far today who have kind of started to pull away with 1 game left to go.
They really have, and they're putting themselves in great positions overall. I mean, everyone's starting to really take notes in terms of how this lobby is being played, and it's aggressive at certain times, it's extremely passive at other times, and it'll really catch you off guard, just like how Ghost pushed onto NRG. But it is the final game here, and I can't wait to see who's going to take first place overall. Is it going to be NRG? Will G2 step it up, or will it be somebody else?
Oh, I channel my inner Ric Flair for just a second there. A little woo came out because I'm excited, Tom, because this is the last time we get to cast some Apex Legends today, and it's the last time we're going to see these players and teams look each other in the eyes and take each other on here on World's Edge. Ghost Gaming, the winners of our previous game. What a performance it was from them to pull that out in those final moments. But looking at the top of the leaderboards, there's one team I actually want to talk about a little bit as we see them land over in Skyhook here, and that's G2. We talked about game 1 didn't go their way. We talked about how one fight can change something completely and change a day. It's almost like it was written, that script, for G2 today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I love seeing the momentum kind of shift on over to momentum-based players. One of those players is the team that won the previous game, and the team we're on board with right now. It's going to be 6 Panders in Metro. And I love what Fallout said about how he thinks that Panders is one of the most, if not most, underrated controller player that we have. The guy's been doing it forever, actually. He's been one of the more solid controller players that we've had for about a year now, and he just does not get enough credit. Finally, they're able to win that game, and we can give him some hype up, because he's one of those players that if I had to pick to go in and try to wipe up a 1v1 at the end, I have my money on Panders 90% of the time. As you take a look at this zone, heavily favoring Geyser. Could also bounce right back down to Big Mod as well. We've seen this before.
You're putting your money where your mouth is right now. Okay, where are we ended up? We going Big Mod or we going Geyser, Tom?
I'm sending my team Geyser 1,000%.
I'm going Big Mod. I'm going Big Mod. All right, let's see.
That's why we can't team together anymore.
This is true. We'll just sit in the choke. We'll have a nice chat about things, and we'll decide that we're both right, and we'll sit in the choke. But for now, obviously, teams going to be moving towards Geyser. Maybe some teams will take that risk of going towards Big Mod. But in our final game here, once again, Tom, not for the first time today, it's a zone that splits decisions, right? It's not a clear and obvious second zone where people are thinking, oh, it's this POI. There's always that little bit of doubt in the back of your mind.
We had that zone in the EMEA region, and it favored over towards the Big Mod side. So realistically, it should go down there, but you never really know. It could pop right back out over towards Geyser. Space Station looking for some blood early.
Yeah, really starting to get aggressive here, and you wonder if that's NRG who might be taking a little bit more time to loot, or if NRG have already left. But some shots being exchanged as Frex is going to take some damage as well. Bobble goes out, but Frex is 1 HP. Is that 1 HP? Is it half HP? I don't know, but he hasn't got much time to work with, and here comes NRG, who were on the other side to those warning shots coming in from SSG, and they said, hey, you want to warn us? Don't worry, we'll finish this fight.
This fight is so early that I don't think they're worried about getting third-partied, and they got that player down to just a sliver like you talked about. Rocker finally ends up using that bubble. There's the re-knock back onto Frex. Nathan with the bait and switch. You'll pay attention to whenever you're taking damage here, you don't want to take flesh meds. That's exactly what Nathan's thinking. He wants to utilize all of his armor. Then he's going to be making his play. Speaking of armor, ripping down that Gimmy's armor, and it's not looking good right now for Space Station Gaming. That's going to be drop going down. Only one more player remaining. And NRG could come out with an early wipe.
This is really good for NRG as well. Best thing you can do early on, take out your closest competition. That's exactly what they're going to do. They might have the opportunity to open up a little bit of space at the top of the leaderboards, because Space Station Gaming, I think they're going to be looking back on that and wishing they hadn't fired a few shots in NRG's direction.
Definitely not. And also the kind of lackadaisical approach to the angles there that allowed NRG to get superior height, mainly Nathan going and taking some really good angles that caught them off guard, and Space Station Gaming split up a little bit. They lost focus over towards the side, and they really got punished for that, going out in 20th place. Meanwhile, Unlucky taking control of one of those chokes over here, looking over towards the Geyser, and also controlling a little bit of the no-name and fragment area. A good spot for kills, but also a little bit of a difficult spot to hold as the teams start to filter the way in.
Well, it's Halloween tomorrow. The players are channeling their inner vampires right now, because everyone's looking a little bit bloodthirsty in this lobby. We're already seeing fights break out inside a Geyser, outside a Geyser. It really has been a hot start to this game, with Space Station being the first victims to fall. But Ghost Gaming now making their moves, as they're still pretty much around the POI where they dropped, so they moved away from Skyhook, this time towards the outside and northern side of the map, so they're going to have a little bit of space to work with. But Sheesh inside of this Geyser building, one of the best ones to hold in my opinion, Tom.
Yeah, going back and looking at that leaderboard, Energy was sitting in first place with 60 points. Behind them was G2 with 49. Space Station Gaming was at 47. So realistically, G2, ESA, and Ghost are the teams that are going to be trying to contest for that first place. Meanwhile, Sheesh, they're trying to get up back on that leaderboard. They're sitting in 12th place. They could just by 4 points make it all the way up to 7th, but they got to win this fight if that's the case.
Yeah, these two teams do not like each other. It's pretty simple because they want to fight. Some shots coming in from Timmy are going to do a little bit of damage, but the Caustics are slowing down progress for both teams. It really is difficult to push, not only because of the gas, because of the physical block that's coming in, but look at this. There's a defensive bombardment that's somehow doing damage to Timmy. I think that door might have been left wide open, and the Rockets just fell in and managed to sneak round the corner, but it looks like they've managed to stabilize.
I think it was an L-Star around the corner. I think it was a little bit of Star Wars action like you were talking about that ripped him down so much. And then Nicewig was down to a sliver of HP as well. Scary moment there for Team Sheesh and their fans. But just one team fight is all they need to potentially bounce up literally 5 points. That is a big difference right now for the cumulative leaderboard. Sheesh doing whatever they can over towards this Geyser side to lock it down. But you don't want your door griefed this early. That's not a good sign. You can see only 2 cells there for a prize. Meanwhile, G2 playing very late over towards the edge here, coming in with some pretty decent armors. Looks like they're just going to be chilling, waiting to see what happens on that kill feed.
Well, it looks like just for a second at least, we can pause and catch our breath because it has been somewhat of an electric start here to the final game of the day. Maybe with teams thinking, hey, if we want to push ourselves up the leaderboard, KP is the only way we're going to be able to do it. 100 Thieves are the team who are looking to poke and looking to prod away at Sheesh. So these two teams really are exchanging some strong words and some strong shots through this corridor. I wouldn't want to be a hall monitor within this building.
Yeah, keep in mind that this is the first team wipe that we saw Sheesh get in game number 2, I believe it was, where they took him down. Meanwhile, they're going to get out of there. They are going to ditch and go towards the back of the Geyser, more over towards the Pills area where we've seen a lot of teams hold, maybe because they're not feeling too confident staying in that building next to 100 Thieves. Meanwhile, Energy, they're out for the second fight, and they could be out and ready for their second elimination.
So he's going to have some good lines of sight as well, but he's not going to shoot at the moment. He's trying to separate these two players. This is so smart from Sweet. It's the small things, but the problem is Rocket's going to be taken down, and even though the angles were taken by Sweet, the bullets were received by his teammate, and now NRG, who looked like they were so strong at the start of this game, they're in all sorts of problems.
That's going to be Furia because you can see the knuckle clusters coming down right there. And it is Hakulo's going to come in with the knock now. Only Nathan remains. You can see the rest of the players from Furia are on the case. NRG getting a taste of their own medicine right there. That was such a heads-up play to not shoot the player over towards the side, but somehow just taking a ton of damage right there. And they get turned on super quick. Furia eliminating our first place team. Meanwhile, CLG getting into it with 100 Thieves.
They certainly are. There's been knocks either side. Bird is the last player alive here. GS Bird. It might be RIP Bird in just a few seconds because his two teammates have been eliminated once again. There's just nades. There's carnage all around him, and he's only got around 30 HP. Make that 0. Take the 3 off because Renegades now move in. And I tell you what, this has been the center of activity here, this building inside of Geyser. Death boxes everywhere. And to be honest with you, not a lot of success for a lot of teams.
Success for Sheesh because they got out of there. I'm pretty sure they're still alive. So shout out to them for realizing the danger situation over here. Meanwhile, Esports Arena sitting in 4th place with 45 points, trying to do something in here, maybe with the finger roll Nox gas grenade. Let's see if this lands.
Rolls it over the top, but doesn't seem to be doing too much tick damage. However, it might create a distraction for this flank to come in as Skillcakes tries to take that wide angle. Does some good damage there with the flat line. However, teammates maybe not quite in position to capitalize on it as yet. So we're back to that standoff position. Skillcakes popping a couple of cells to get himself back up to full HP before he repeats these angles.
I bet Skittlecakes wishes that he had that Nox gas grenade still as we get a look at that zone. Still 50-50, but remember, the EMEA games earlier, it bounced down over towards Big Mod, right underneath where that platform is. So that's a big spot of contention right now. We'll find out how many teams are going to make their way over there. But look at this. A team over towards Fragment, 2 teams over towards Fragment East. They're getting some shots down out of Valkyrie redeploy. All the chokes. There's 3 chokes that you have to make it through over there. And you know that Geyser one's going to be taken. So how else do you rotate into Big Mod? When you look at this zone, there's not many opportunities.
I'm going to have to see where that zone does pull. But at the moment, Tom, it looks like you owe me a cookie. Just saying, okay? I'm just saying. Looking like it's favoring Big Mord at this point. G2 making their way through this tunnel, and they're moving towards Lava City at this point, trying to approach this zone from the south side. And this is something, again, we saw in EMEA earlier that brought quite a lot of success. This light or southern rotation from Edge has worked out so well for so many teams, as long as there's nobody that comes in behind you, because you can play with your back to zone, knowing that there's going to be nobody, unless Furia take that route, which we know they haven't, who might sneak behind you.
I think that's why they're going for the high ground right here. Let's hear exactly what the thought process is. We have a listen in with G2.
Left.
It'll be hard.
I don't think any team will come from that way, Jump.
I mean, I don't put it past them.
Alright.
I mean, I'm fine. I can phase over to you. Worst case.
We have this RV.
I'll stay in this corner in case you have to, and I can bub you. You won't make it all the way. Stay on this backside.
We're not going to third shit.
Nope.
No. Should I get picks?
We got a really good spot in next zone too. That little fucking cart is open.
Yep.
This one. Green.
Double RV?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Team out here as well. Yeah, we're good. I'm holding OTX out as well.
Not here.
We could hold that until somebody pushes that RV, and then we'll third that.
Hold what?
We're gonna go for this little fucking.
Yeah, we get up to the carts.
So G2 just trying to clear their backs at the moment here, Tom, making sure that nobody rotates late through that tunnel. These little things, we didn't really hear it in the comms, but you can see it in the gameplay.
No doubt about it. Also staying within Q distance there for the phase. In the kill feed, you also saw it's going to be Team Sheesh picking up some extra kills. So they're trying to climb up that leaderboard and see what they can place here when it was all said and done. But Esports Arena is sitting pretty over here towards the big mod. And we were just talking about this while we're listening to listen in. How interesting would it be if you could actually drive this thing?
Yeah, it certainly would add an interesting dynamic to competitive Apex that would be immediately removed, I'm sure. But for Esports Arena, this is a situation, and this fight is going into episode 3 at this point, and that is the end of my Star Wars references for now, because it's been constantly going on, this battle between these two teams inside a big mod. Nobody getting the upper hand, nobody being able to get that knock, but now Skillcake just moved forward, and it looks like Esports Arena might decide now it's time to go.
They've been dancing for quite some time. We've heard the rotations. Let's hear what the listen is right now for this fight. Let's jump on board with Esports Arena.
I'm holding it.
They're gonna, swing through that side.
They're coming right back to my side. I'm taking the stairs. Batting.
Fuck, that EMP fucked me, bro. They're breaking.
Another team is Valkyrie today. Come to me, Skittles.
Alright.
Grab my pinner.
I did already. Go down low.
Nice. Go to eggshell.
Eggshell's probably still there.
I don't think there is a team there. I looked at it.
Team is portal below.
Come to me, Verhost. Do you have Valk ult?
I do.
We're probably just gonna have to have Valk ult for it. I mean.
Yeah. Do it. Just do it. You're good. Valko, I think you do it.
And there's a team over there. I saw you scan one.
All right, you want us to go back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going into this room right here.
Don't go all the way in. They're up there. He's on that door. You just saw him.
Across over here?
Yeah, across down low. He's on that door.
I think we need to just play out.
Wait for eggshell. Yeah. Wait for eggshell team to get a fight off.
Come outside.
Wait for eggshell. Look, they're fighting eggshell.
One down.
Well, we saw the end of that fight, and it's still going to go on. We might have chapter 17 by the time we're done with it, but G2 versus Furia is the one that's going down in Dome at the moment, and Designful will be finished. Resulta's trying to get back some sort of health, and Gentrifying's doing all he can to hold, but Furia, with the Knuckle Cluster coming in, is going to force him to jump into the void, and at this point, he's saying to Resulta, good luck, my friend, I'm off, and I'm going to try and survive.
Salta's got the bub though, and they get to some safe haven just for now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to even go for that banner, but Furia is just going through the teams at the top of the leaderboard right now, taking down NRG in first place, dropping one player on G2, and they're looking for more blood. ESA currently down a player as well, so you know who's loving that? The rest of the lobby. Ghost Gaming, they're already eliminated, so this is going to be a difficult run for G2 if they want to take first place.
Well, Fury are the team that did the damage to G2, and I almost said it tongue-in-cheek earlier, haha. Imagine if Furia come behind them from zone. Well, that's exactly what happened. And Furia took advantage of it. They managed to get that KP secured. They've weakened G2 as well. And oh my word, Hakulo is weakening everyone at the moment. As once again, we hear the sound of those shields cracking. There's the knuckle cluster going in to try and finish off a little bit more flesh damage. But it's not going to happen for now. Furia just going to stabilize here inside a dome.
Also, remember that Hambino threw an extra little bit of defensive bombardment towards the way of G2, and that didn't really help out the case as Furia continues to just try to be such a nuisance over here towards the eggshell. They are going to have to make their way over towards that platform eventually. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to rotate. Maybe it's going to be Tech with the redeploy, but most likely Zara Trick is going to have to advance. They're going to foot it, and they're going to bubble towards the edge.
Well, Skittle Cakes and Verholst, the last two alive here for Esports Arena, but the most important part of that sentence is the word alive, still existing inside of this top 13 teams. So at G2, they're down to just a duo. We saw the unfortunate demise of Design Fault, but Furia just trying to take their time here. You can see multiple pings going out here, Tom, discussing where they want to make that next move.
And all the teams are going to be looking at them, especially G2, understanding that that's Furia and that's the team that took them down, because not a lot of players understand that it's just a duo sitting on over towards that trailer unless they get a scan. Back on board with Unlucky, some nice shots there from Casellas. They're going to have to make a move very similar to what we saw from NRG do in game number 1. Let's see if they can find some open spot with a Valkyrie all here. Prodigy Ace is going to have to make a serious move, but they may have to do it with the bubble being down from Senpai.
We're going to have to fight soon because they've only got 15 seconds left on this zone, and that team is going to hold them out unless they can find a position to hit that redeploy over the mountain. The skyward dive might be an option, but forcing this team off also might be one who also have to move because, as I say, it's going to be tough to get into that zone. I'm sure there's a team holding down that choke, but it looks like the skyward dive isn't going to be the first option for them. It looks like they're going to try and chase them down here.
They're chasing them down, getting a little bit closer to the zone, trying to third party this while still waiting for their redeploy to come back up too. But G2 is sneaking around. They're starting to own a little bit of real estate over here as Rakanishu is going to get one knock, coming through with the serious damage. But Unlucky, all these teams, they're just grieving themselves. Senpai has the bubble down. They have to make their way towards the zone. This is round 4. It's going to eat them alive.
How long this takes, the less chance of success it is for both teams. Prodigy Aces, he's going to have the zone at his back as well, and that's really going to sting. Jumps back up to that high ground, maybe just trying to bait out here and get that final kill. They will win the fight, but Prodigy Aces will fall, and the rest of the team will fall as well because Renegades were sitting there in the choke, ready to pick up the pieces. As we jump on board with Furia now, who have managed to scrape their way behind this fence into zone. But here comes the Caustic Nox gas, but here comes Hakulo firing away with the Eva 8.
Yeah, he's just ripping over towards the window. He's not getting ripped as hard though. On the other side, it's the gas coming in with the damage. Hambino picking up some kills along the way. He's going to take the kill lead. They haven't gotten Duplex to be able to get respawned yet, but they're still doing a great job inside a big mod for Team Esports Arena. Renegades on the outside looking in. They are on the edge of the zone over here with just a little bit of area to work with. Premier still alive with 2 players as well. You can see what Ronnie's doing. Hambino's been playing phenomenal too. Resulta gentrified, picking up some kills along the way. That's going to be Xset, a great Q as well. Question is, where is Resulta? The dome is down. The cover fire is there. Nice job by G2.
So good that from G2. Even if you're playing as a duo, if a chance presents itself to get in and get out safely and pick up some KP, you have to take it. Those points are vital, especially with NRG going out so early in this game and picking up 0 points, or should I say only a few points on their way. But Esports Arena now still holding things down, and when we last saw them, which was some time ago, they lost that player. They looked like they were on the back foot. They looked a little bit discombobulated, but now they're inside that top 8, and now they might be able to make an approach on this end zone.
Definitely a possibility too, especially when you do have Skittlecake still here with the Nox gas grenade, still chucking out barrels left and right. All of Lazarus just hiding on the very bottom of Big Mod. Another team coexisting on the roof. They're going to go for a crazy redeploy. This is risky for Esports Arena, but they got to do something.
I wondered if they were going to get cut down before they managed to take to the skies, but They survive for now, and they're going to be using that passive of Valkyrie just to scan the area, find anywhere that they can play. Can they land on this ledge to buy themselves an extra 15 seconds? It looks like that's the play as well. The Nox gas will be huge for them here. If they can find someone to drop this onto, they might be able to turn a 3v2 into a victory in the fight. But for now, Skittlecakes is just trying to survive.
They don't have a bubble, and that's going to cost them there.
G2.
Gentrifying is in the vicinity. He's ready with the R301. And keep in mind, ESA, that was only 4 points behind G2. 49-45, the spray from Gentrifying. He's not done yet, Mark.
Momentum on the side of G2 as a duo, just the two towards this end game, but KP being picked up, and Gentrifying is playing some of his best Apex Legends.
Making sure that they're not getting pinched, watching the back. Look at the spray coming out, 50 right there onto the gold armor. Has 2 batteries, 1 in the backpack after this one, but Resulta is just there for the ride. Whenever he needs a bubble, he's going to be there. Whenever he needs an arm shield, he's going to be there as well. Just dominating as a duo. 4 kills ever since Design Pool has dropped. But you love to see just the little mini plays that they're doing to get to this point to begin with. How they started on over towards the eggshell, made their way over here, and just doing such a good job.
Only problem is they've barely got any light ammo between them. I think that was the last of Gentrifying's, and now he's going to have to use that Eva 8. He just checked it there. The R301 doesn't have any ammo in, and now he's going to have to jump back into the void to stay alive and return to safety to the arms of his brother. Resulta pops that battery, but for now they're going to have to play a little bit more passive. Wait for those closer range fights because they don't have those weapons and they don't have the ammo to work with to do any damage.
Because he's playing so aggressive, but the reason he's playing so aggressive is because he has to filter these other teams into one another. Otherwise, they can't take a full-on 3v3 since they have just a duo and no ammo. So EMP's being used, bubbles being used as well. They're still in the safety, and they have the closest safe haven into the zone as that starts to rotate. So G2 has to play this patiently.
Look at this. Once again, just having a little peek. He wants to apply as much pressure as he can. This has been such an impressive game here from Gentrifying and from G2 from the position that they found themselves in. And I wonder if he's going to go for a kidnap here. Can he catch some prey? No, but he'll crack someone. Resulta will pick up a kill as well. And somehow G2, as a 2, are looking dominant in this endgame.
They can use this portal at the very last second to get right over towards there. But not only that, there's a box if they want to go for a quick little swap. Yes, it's on the controller, but what a job so far from G2. Gentrifying saying, hey, I'm not going to use that portal. We're going to continue to put it up over towards this wall, which I think is the right play. They can still try to distract the rest of this lobby and push them into each other. But there goes the full send. The shots are there, and the rain finally ends. It's the Neanderthals putting an end to G2's run.
Apin like Neanderthals as well. Very impressive from them to realize the situation. 2 squads remaining, and it's looking like Neanderthals might take this one home. Defensive bombardment comes in. Exile is forced to jump into the void for just a few seconds, but the last players from Noble surely can't survive for too long. Lucas is taken down. The armor swap is there as well. Gibby slides out. He's going to meet his Mastiff. He's going to meet an end surely here, and Neanderthals will close out the final game of the day with the win.
Just what an onslaught towards the tail end of that game, especially from G2. Someone had to shut him down. Neanderthals decided that they were going to be the team to go and do that, whether it was some crypto information coming from behind or whether they knew that they had to go and push and get rid of that team. That was a big play from Neanderthals, and that's huge because they've been kind of slow today. I'd love to see what that does for their overall scores.
Yeah, we said one big game can catapult you from 20th up to 10th. It depends on how many points they manage to pick up along the way. But for me, I think today, the overall story, yes, NRG were really good, but G2's return to form, I think, is something that everybody's been waiting for. Everybody's been thinking, where are G2? They're here, Tom. They're back to play.
Yeah, one of our strongest teams that we had in Season 1. Slow start to the Pro League so far. Coming back to not their full form, but pretty close to it right there. I mean, keep in mind, they had 2 thermal station zones slip away from them when they land over towards thermal. So if they were able to capitalize on that, it could have been a different story. But you got to give credit to the Neanderthals. They only had 17 points after 5 games. Now they come through with 21 in their final game.
Yeah, big performance from them. As you said, that's going to throw them straight up that ladder on the leaderboards. Noble in 2nd place as well. Good performance from them. Lazarus taking home a 3rd. G2, that was the most impressive performance as a duo as well. Just picking up kill after kill in that end zone. Renegades inside the top 6, Esports Arena in 7th. But as I say, the biggest names were somewhat of a surprise to go out and first in the lobby, and that was Space Station and NRG, Tom.
It's surprising that Furia was able to do that, but not able to place as well as they would have liked. But that's a good sign for them. The fact that they're fights, the fact that they're able to eliminate these really good players. But G2 is going to start to catch on to them rotating in behind, because that started to happen a handful of times, and they're going to start sniffing each other out. Again, a lot of teams do love to play the edge. A majority of them like to get inside the middle of the zone, as we take a look at Strictly with the big 1900 damage, 4 kills, 4 assists.
Very impressive from the Gibraltar player. Exile doing a decent amount of damage as well. Only the 1 kill, but 3 assists for him. Blitzing on the Crypto, 4 kills for him with 2 assists and a heck of a lot of damage to go alongside it as well. A really good all-round performance for them, and I like when teams recognize they have advantages in those final zones, Tom. They did a great job of just executing that final moment.
You have to push when you get the added advantage, but not only that, it was a lot just to get there, because it was such an interesting zone that could have bounced over towards Geyser. We saw it earlier in EMEA bounce back down over towards Big Mod, but I love the way that they just waited that out, waited the storm down. When they needed to pounce, that's why they did that passive aggressive play, is what it takes in these end zones.
It was really impressive, as I say, from them to close out that game. We'll bring Kate back in, because Kate, as we said in that game, you know, we had a little bet we had going on, and Tom owes me a cookie. So welcome back.
Well, thank you. what a note to be welcome back on. And I gotta say, the storm that we got to see in that, I'm not sure if the zone pull that brings you alongside the Geyser Big Mod chokiness is something we saw a little bit earlier today in EMEA, and certainly something that I know is turning into a fan favorite, because it means bloodshed for all of us to enjoy. So super excited about that. Thank you so much, of course, you both for casting through that entire match. But let's talk a little bit about something, because as we know, this was 6 games for NA. This is round 3 of 6. So I want to real quick talk about something before we get to our full leaderboard here. We're coming down to it. We saw Unlucky Ghost Gaming, who had an incredible game. They needed to start their comeback from the bottom of the leaderboard as we take a look at our highlights. Tom, who are we seeing popping off throughout our games 4, 5, and 6, specifically in those late games? Because I think, honestly, the late games, these later matches, seem to be the difference between coming out on top of the leaderboard and coming out towards the end there.
To be honest, I'm impressed with almost really all the players. 1, getting here is hard enough. 2, performing on this stage is extremely difficult. But there was a lot of standout plays today. Gentrifying at the end really stood out for me. His Wraith play was really, really solid in terms of the way that he's positioning himself with the portals, taking off angles, really owning a lot of real estate for his team and getting back in within Q distance. To me, Gentrifying really stepped it up, and he has to step it up for G2 to have this type of performance.
Absolutely. And Onset, I want to go back to something you had said earlier, which is that you've seen some teams really come into form here. Is it possible for a team to come into form and not be at the top of our leaderboards?
No, it's as simple as that. I don't think you can be out of form at the moment with the strength in North America and EMEA. I think you have a couple of off weeks, 3 off weeks, it's inexcusable. And looking ahead to tomorrow, there's a couple of teams in the other lobbies who need to have good days. They haven't been in form. And I'm talking about the likes of TSM, which is a weird thing to say, to be honest with you. But like today, G2, bit out of form in the first couple of weeks. Today, they found their form. It was one fight that completely turned things around for them. The confidence came back, and G2 looks really, really strong again.
Nice and deadly, just the way we like them. Let's take a look at the leaderboard and see just how deadly some of these squads have been performing today. And here are we, NRG. 3 letters, Tom, equally as deadly.
And they started off so hot, Kate. Keep in mind that I believe it was 47 points after the first 2 games. So things started to slow down just a little bit for them for the final 4. But the way that we had that communication, that listening in game number 1, got me so excited for NRG and their fans for what they're going to be capable of going forward, because no stone was unturned throughout all of that. Every layer of strategy was well thought out, and that was just really next level Apex and some of the best communication I've seen in just all of esports. You know, someone that's been in here for 15 years, I was so impressed for NRG right there. And it's not easy to do, because in order to talk that strategy, you have to know that strategy like the back of your hand.
You do. And who can forget the all-important, yeah, I got a bow check. That's me. That's right. I'll take that. Mark, anybody here that you want to talk about real quick in terms of the teams that we are talking about here? Because you're seeing some teams right now who are doing an incredible thing in our overall standings. And take a look at that. I'm even going to stop myself right now on set. Give it to me straight.
Esports Arena looking super strong. It's impressive to see the 3 teams who have performed well today at the top of the leaderboards, right? We should of course take into account that we have another day of action and some of these teams haven't played, so haven't had the opportunity to put those points on the board. But what a turnaround. G2, where have you been? Well, now you're in 7th place. That is a huge turnaround for them. NRG in 3rd, Space Station in 2nd, and Esports Arena at the top of the pile. What a performance it's been for 3 weeks now from those 3 gentlemen.
I'd also like to point out that these teams at the top are running that composition that is meta right now. They're running Valkyrie, Caustic, Gibby. So I'd just like to really reiterate that. And one of the teams that started this meta and made it so strong was Team Esports Arena. Verhulst has been dominant, but you also got a chance to hear the listen-ins where they have Duplex coming in with the secondary callouts as well.
Absolutely. And this is and I alluded to this question a little bit earlier here, Mark. We'll start with you. In terms of those players that were, the way that we have it configured is 10 players. Actually, you know what, Onset, I'm going to have you answer this question. How is it that the teams, since we are now through our 3rd round of 6, what does the future look like for these teams in terms of what they need to get to? Top 10 automatically gets us to playoffs. What else can we tell the fine folks at home?
That's all that matters. Top 10. Get into top 10 and then approach the next stage when it gets there. You've got to get through every single step of the way. Top 10 or nothing at this point for all of these players. And there's a couple of teams down in that bottom half that I'm starting to feel a little bit worried for, because they're going to be looking at that leaderboard and thinking, hey, we haven't got many weeks left. There's not a huge amount of points, and it's not about putting up a huge amount of points 1 week, because it converts into a placing point essentially. So even though it might look tight, sometimes it's not as tight as it does look, because you can't pick up a huge amount of points in 1 week and catapult yourself up. So it's going to be scary now for some of these teams. And I'm not talking Halloween scary. I'm talking like you've worked a long time and you're not going to get the reward you want kind of scary. So what else can you say about it really? Top 10 or nothing for all of these teams.
Top 10 or nothing. Well, as we talk about these teams, we got to talk about the players within them. 3 teammates, a squad does it make. And that means it's time to talk all about our Monster MVP. Three squad mates. We're now in round 3. That made sense in my head. We have obviously some incredible teammates, some incredible squad mates. And I want to real quick start with you, Tom. Who had your heart today?
I really have to go with Sweet. It was really close. I was leaning towards Gentrifying as well, but just after the first 2 games, seeing that many points put up, you really have to give credit to where credit's due. Again, the leadership throughout all of that, just being able to put everybody at the right place, everybody pitching in terms of what the strategy is going to be, but also hitting your shots in these crucial moments. That's the most important thing, and calling out to your teammates where they need to focus while everybody else is communicating what you need to do as well. I love the way that they were able to do all of those things, and you see so many different facets of Energy's game, whether that's locking down priority positions, good, Valkyrie redeploys, whatever that is, they brought that to the table, getting into the end zones and predicting zones perfectly. We saw that from them. We saw great early game fights and rotations. Everything that you want to see from Sweet, we saw today.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm going to jump off the back of that, because I think we saw the best of Sweet Dreams today. And G2, a big shout out to them as well. Tom mentioned Gentrifying, and quite rightly so as well, because he was the catalyst to start everything off for G2. Coming into today, they were looking really shaky, but Gentrifying kind of picked the team up himself. And that first fight I was talking about on the outskirts of Fragment West, I think it was West Fragment, just by the train station, was what really started to light the fire underneath them. And this moment here, I thought G2 had won this. I thought G2 had the opportunity here to really convert, but Exet in that final position managed to clutch it up. But this moment, I mean, this was the best of Gentrifying in these final moments in our final game. This is how you play Wraith. This is a tutorial on everything you need to do as a player. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a full team. As long as you've got one player to fall back to, you can be so mobile and do so much damage.
Literally staying within phase distance the entire time, adding pressure, hitting shots along the way, opening up the map, basically. That's what you see coming in from Gentrifying. But again, it was amazing play from a lot of our players today. And it was so fun to watch them duke it out for 1st and 2nd place.
Well, speaking of duking it out, let's take a look at what the numbers say in our kill leaderboard. heading on over to our screen right now, because this is always a great indicator of just how deadly the damage that these players can wield. And here we go. A very, I mean, my gosh, there's a reason you said gentrifying there, Tom. 18 kills, that proves it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, doing it in their style. That's what G2 does. They take fights, they play aggressive, just like Mark's saying. They only needed that first one underneath their belt to go and get that momentum. I believe that was a fight against Furia where they sniffed him out. I believe it was Designful as well, who came through with a really nice scan that caught him basically with their pants down. And it was really nice to see G2 go from a team that was looking like they weren't going to make it into the top 10 to catapulting themselves in a solid position, because we know how strong they are.
100% onset.
I mean,
oh, sorry, I thought you said something.
Gentrifying stepped it up. Gentrifying looked really good, right? And he's at the top of the leaderboards for a reason. That final game, as I say, I think if you want to learn how to play Wraith at a high level, like Tom said, there were so many things you could take away from that final moment. You've got the ability to jump into the void. You are invincible for those few seconds, and you can return to a teammate. If there's kills available, go out and find them.
You know what? This ALGS Pro League is like a masterclass for any of the legends you're looking to play. That has been your Monster MVP segment. Well, we have had so much fun today. Gents, I know you both have been casting away so much and have been really showcasing the journey that these players have been on. And we've been talking about them from the preseason qualifiers all the way now through here to our round number 3 of 6. Last and final mentions before we head into our talent predictions. Onset, I'm going to start with you. Just give me that overall highlight today.
I think teams returning to form, right? You've got G2, you've got NRG, you've got Esports Arena now throwing their names in the hat as well. Space Station, all looking really good. And it's going to be difficult to knock those out of that top 10 when we do get to the end of Pro League Season 1. So I think everyone's got to find form. If you don't do it this week, then maybe you leave yourself too much to do.
And I'm going to talk about how those teams potentially can find their form, which would be going back to the VODs and watching the rebroadcast from the tournaments and watching every single week and seeing where those mistakes are, because there's a lot of room for improvement. There's going to be no way that you could just start up matchmaking or start up Fire Range or Aim Lab and think that you're going to get away with individually getting through this. It's a team game, and you have to go back and look at where these mistakes are happening and go and adjust. So I guess I would really like for those teams that are sitting on the back end of the leaderboard to go and do that and start, stepping up, because there's not much time left.
Speaking of time left, Tom, RIP, but well done. Oh no, not Tom, RIP. I'm sorry. You did it.
He's raised from the dead.
I mean, I would say Kate RIP, but
I know that's fair.
I'm just glad I didn't follow the Space Station gaming herd here. It was nice to go an outside the box pick.
Yeah,
I picked Space Station first, by the way. Everyone else copied me. That's not true, but
it's a very important point to make here, Onset, of course. Yeah, I've my sort of off the wall. It's not even off the wall, but I was really hoping that Sheesh was going to come back, and they worked so hard. They've been grinding so hard to even just get here, and then they're on that bubble. Certainly on the way in to today's tournament, they were on the bubble, and I thought, let's get that motivation. That's going to go ahead and push them over the top. It didn't do as much as I had planned, but they have my heart. It's wonderful for sure. And so do a lot of these teams. And that is something you can continue to watch when you'll see it on the screen right there tomorrow. That's right, gang. Halloween. We are here all day doing it right, because as you saw, these are just 2 of our groups. Tomorrow, it's A versus C. It's going to be fun. We're going to take that lobby and shake it up a little bit. And we might even be doing it in costume. No promises there. But if you want to follow along with all the journeys, take a look over on our socials, twitter.com/PlayApexEsports. Play Apex Esports on YouTube, and of course, Play Apex on Twitch. I'm sure some of you are joining us from at least 2 of those, and if you're not joining us on Twitter, well, get over there. They're doing great stuff. Is there anything left to say, Onset, before we head over?
If we are doing that tomorrow, then there's a possibility I'll be dressed as a ghost, because I don't have any kind of fancy dress at all. But I'm going to do what I can, all right? I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to get the scissors out, Maybe find a sewing machine. I don't know a sewing machine. What am I on about? I'm talking myself into a hole here. I'm gonna do my best, Kate. I'm gonna do my best. And for you at home viewers, I'm gonna do my best. All right.
He could go as Ghost Gaming. He could be a ghost and then have a controller or something like that, and then be Ghost Gaming.
Tom's a genius.
I'm gonna put on a helmet. I'll be Space Station Gaming.
I like them both. And make sure to follow us at Play Apex Esports. If you want to know, if you want to suggest a costume to some of us, go ahead and let us know at Play Apex Esports. And for that, we are done for the day. Don't worry, we'll be right back here tomorrow morning, starting off with our EMEA Groups A and C. So until then, have a great day.